It is 6:02. Good Friday morning from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. The best two words in sports. Game 7. The Indiana Pacers stay alive, dominating the Oklahoma City Thunder in Game 6 last night, 108-91. NBA MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was held to just 21 points in the loss, his lowest outing in the finals. It's the first Game 7 in the NBA Finals since 2016, and the winner-take-all Game 7 will be Sunday night in OKC with tip-off set for 7 p.m. Central Time on ABC. In the College World Series in Omaha, the championship is set. 13-seed Coastal Carolina versus 6-seed LSU in a best-of-3 series. Coastal Carolina is riding a 26-game winning streak and looking for their first title since 2016. LSU's in the championship after a walk-off win over Arkansas Wednesday night. They're in the championship for the second time in 3 years after winning the title back in 2023. And in NFL news, 11-year pro and 5-time Pro Bowler linebacker C.J. Mosley announced his retirement yesterday on his 33rd birthday from the NFL. The former first-round pick in 2014, Mosley spent his career with the New York Jets and Baltimore Ravens. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you've got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Here we go, kicking off a gorgeous Friday morning, a sweltering, scorching Friday in Music City, USA. This is Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee. Visit a locally owned location near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Scooters Coffee, amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. He is the 11-year NFL veteran, Vol Network analyst, Ramon Foster. Justin Hawkins is our producer. I'm Will Bowling. 615-737-1045 is the number. After a day away, we are back for 4 more hours to wrap up your week. Good morning, Ramon Foster. How are we doing?
What up, Will? How you living, man?
We're great.
We're good. We're real good this morning, man.
How was the off day? Juneteenth yesterday, recognized by us here at the company and here at 104.5 The Zone.
Absolutely loved it. I told you coming in, man, it's like I needed that day yesterday, man. The celebration of it was awesome. I looked up on a lot of stuff yesterday as it pertains to the history of it, too. So it was good, man. Thoroughly, a midweek break like that, Will, was awesome. I honestly thought it was about to have a party by myself at the house, okay? Just going to throw that out there, too. I was solo for the most part yesterday. The wife and kids up in Knoxville because baseball. Okay.
Always. This time of year, if Ramon Foster is not at a baseball field, then it's probably raining.
I know. I'm supposed to go to Trey Smith. He has a ball. I'm supposed to go to his camp this weekend in Jackson, Tennessee. And I got to text him at a reasonable time this morning when he get up. I'm like, hey, Trey, I can't make it because we got a tournament in Knoxville. But
God's country.
I know, God's country, man. He'll understand.
Yeah, he'll get that part.
Plus, I got some recruiting stuff I think I got to do this weekend, too. Well, I got invited this time, too.
Lovely.
So tonight, I think they can invite former players around and stuff like that because nothing's off limits these days, man. But besides that, I told you, I'm going to tell the world. So I was doing a lot of honeydew stuff yesterday. Took some stuff to the dump. Moved some stuff around in the house, just trying to figure stuff out. Got rid of trash, basically, yesterday. Also, we got a Sprinter van. So I hadn't driven it in a while because RJ's been driving.
Sure.
So that was our travel ball vehicle. Well, I hadn't driven in a while, and I got an alert that the battery was low.
Okay.
Hop in the van. Crank it up. I'm sitting there adjusting stuff, turning stuff on, hit the AC, and I feel something hot around my neck, and I smack. I was like, no. Then I smack again to kill it. Got stung twice yesterday by a stinking wasp, man. Oh, my gosh.
That's awful.
Dude.
So you felt it immediately.
I felt it and I'm sitting, didn't see it. Like, there was no nest hanging up in the door.
He was mad that you took his home.
Oh, my. Will, hear me out. I screamed. I was hot. My neck got instantly hot. It hit my ear and down the side of my neck, man. It threw off my whole evening yesterday.
Yeah, I bet.
And you know why it sucks even more? Yesterday was haircut day. So my neck was shaven fresh. And the razor area.
It's the best part of getting a haircut, too.
It is.
Yeah.
Unless you get stung.
Right. Right.
It's been years since I've gotten stung, Will, by like a wasp or a bee, but specifically wasps. I rock with the bees.
Yeah, wasps are next level. Wasps are looking for a challenge. Bees are just minding their own business. They'll pollinate something. They're just hanging out on a flower. Go by them like, hey, get out of my neighborhood. Wasps will go out of their way to, hey, what are you, like, a little more aggressive.
It attacked me. I'm going to be quite honest with you, Will. It attacked me, man. And then I thought, like, wasps die when they sting you. You know what I'm saying? No. This one's just rolling up and down in the van. And, like, it hit the window, and I was like, I got to find something. So I grabbed an empty bottle, Will, and smacked the heck out of it. You know what I did with it? I left it on the dash.
Let this be a sign to your friends.
I'm telling you.
Don't come around these parts.
Don't come around these parts, man. That sucks. Like, I see why kids scream and holler. I almost screamed and hollered yesterday, man.
Yeah, no, I am not tough when it comes to that stuff. I'll be sitting on a bleacher or something outside at a sporting event, something like that. I will get up and move for the wasp. Bees is one thing, because bees won't bother you if you just relax.
Yeah.
But wasps will go after you. Like, hey, what are you? It's not fun.
It had been a while. Like, so I didn't swell up pretty bad, but now it's the sensitivity part of it too. So in case you see me this evening, it was this is a wasp sting. Okay, nobody's really trying to come at me like that.
Have you ever been stung by a yellow jacket?
No.
It's been a while.
So with them,
You got one of those too, Will, as a kid?
Yeah.
they will keep stinging you until you remove them. Like, you can see their stinger going back in and out.
Oh, no.
So my first job right out of high school was a landscaping job.
Okay.
And I was push mowing a backyard, and they have their nest underground, and I did not know that they nested underground. So I ran over and mowed their home. I had 6 on each leg just going in and out of my boot. I had to take my boots off, immediately hose it down. My legs were swollen for about a week.
I bet.
It was awful.
Yeah, that's right. They do live underground sometimes.
Yeah, John just put it in our YouTube chat. By the way, you guys can check us out on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch. Also stream the app, too. John just said it was a red wasp. The red wasp is the one that got me, man. It looked longer than the regular looking one. But I see him up and down my street all the time, man. But that's the first time I got attacked by one. He said that the cow killer. Ants are worse?
Couldn't tell you.
Me either.
One with nature this morning.
John, that one dogged me. I'm going to be quite honest
I'm
with you.
surprised this hasn't happened more to you, considering how much you are outside at baseball games.
Well, see, I run. Okay, that's what it is.
Fair enough.
Will, I see him, man.
It's the saying when you have a social media lot, like everybody's gangster until ... Everybody's gangster till a wasp flies towards you.
You see me just randomly swatting. Like, if it's one, I will get some and knock it down to the ground and stomp it. Like, me and that type of nature don't get along at all. But to your point about being outside more, that's one of my worst fears right there is when I was cutting my yard and stuff, is like running over a nest because you can't see the underground nest either. And this is for you people that love summer, and I mean you people, my wife included. This is why folks like us enjoy the fall and winter. We don't have to deal with this madness, man. What's the worst thing that happens in the wintertime? Oh, you get a little cold outside? No, look at this. Nature comes out in the summer when it gets hot. Mosquitoes, gnats. I'm talking about cookout interrupters, all of this, man. We don't deal with this in the fall and winter. Hate y'all.
It's better than being frozen. I am one of those people.
You are one of those people. My B.
615-737-1045. You can follow us on Twitter at Ramon and Will, where we are about to put out our question of the morning, Ramon Foster, because there was a heartbreaking loss while we were away the last 24 hours. Arkansas falling to LSU in the College World Series semifinals, 6-5 LSU, setting up a championship series against Coastal Carolina. But of course, unless you have been living under a rock, or maybe you've just been living in a wasp nest, you know what happened on Wednesday. 3 runs in the 9th, including a not turned double play by National Player of the Year finalist Fahiva Aloy, a missed fly ball by Charles Davalon, and then a line drive over second baseman Camden Kojel's glove for LSU to advance to the College World Series championship. If you're an Arkansas fan this week, or even still this morning, you have got to feel like you are one of the most cursed teams in any sport in all of college athletics right now.
Yeah. That every scenario that could have went bad in the baseball game did go bad. Like they gave it to you by catching up, thinking we're going to get extra innings, and snatched it right away, Will. Like, you think about yourself, all the scenarios that I'm sure the second baseman is playing through his head, Will. Like, if he said to himself, if I would have jumped later, if he would have said, if I would have jumped higher, if he would have said, maybe if I hadn't have tipped the ball so that it wouldn't get past, so it wouldn't slow it down so the center fielder could get to it. There are so many different scenarios that Arkansas can play through his mind on why they lost and why, to your point, they're cursed in a sense. It was bad, man. I will say, I saw a good Vols supporter of ours, VFL, we'll call him that too, Big Orange Mac. He was letting Arkansas fans have it.
There were a lot of Tennessee fans letting Arkansas fans have it. Yeah, there were.
I didn't realize they were that bad.
They went through it Wednesday night. So, of course, Arkansas in 2018 was 1 out away from winning the College World Series championship in Game 2 against Oregon State. Foul territory, pop fly, right field. Obviously, you probably see the video. You know what happened. 3 guys converge. It basically drops in the Bermuda Triangle. They can't make the catch. Oregon State goes on to tie that game, then goes on to win Game 3 to win the 2018 College World Series. David Horton, Arkansas, like the best program to never win a national title. It's kind of the way that Tennessee basketball is like the best program in college hoops to never make a Final Four. That is the equivalent of Arkansas and this baseball national championship that continues to evade them. It was a tough watch. So I know it's Friday, but we're going to finish the week, Ramon, with most heartbreaking losses you have suffered as a sports fan. You can tweet us at Ramon and Will. Our question of the morning, what is the most heartbreaking loss you have had as a sports fan? 615-737-1045. I've got one that altered the course of college football history, Ramon Foster in the SEC.
Can't wait to hear it.
We'll do that next. This is Ramon and Will, 1045 The Zone. Back at it, kicking off your Friday morning and wrapping up your week. On Ramon and Will, we are fueled by Scooter's Coffee. 615-737-1045. So Arkansas, Ramon Foster, has a Mount Rushmore of heartbreaking losses in college baseball. Certainly maybe the top of that list now on Wednesday, beyond their 2018 debacle to lose the College World Series championship against Oregon State. Dave Van Horn still looking for that first title. So that encouraged us to ask a question that isn't very Friday-like. But look, we remember the losses for more so than we remember the wins as sports fans and as athletes and things of that nature. So we asked this morning on Twitter, at Ramon Will, where you can follow the show, what is the most heartbreaking loss that you have had as a sports fan? Ramon Foster, as an athlete, what was your most heartbreaking defeat in your 11-year NFL career and Tennessee college career?
Earlier on was the 2007 SEC championship.
Yeah.
We had one of the best teams, one of the best offensive lines, one of the best quarterbacks in college football with Eric Ainge at that point. We had guys that were projected first rounders off that team, and the defense was monstrous. And I never forget playing in the SEC championship, too. What was on the stake was the Sugar Bowl also. And if we'd have won that, we'd have played in New Orleans at the Sugar Bowl. So I don't think we was in national contention at that time. But the BCS Bowl at that time, well, we hadn't had one in a while. To be able to check that box, all I wanted was the gift suite that I heard was super nice, man, and just not to go to a trash bowl. We ended up going to the Outback Bowl. But the reason it stings so much is because on a play where he was just standing around Tyson Jackson, there was a pass to be completed in the flats, or it was an out route, and Tyson Jackson jumped up, Will, and batted the ball. I'll never forget it. And I'm thinking to myself, why? Could I have done something more? What should I have done in that situation? It's so many things that raced through my mind because we were good enough and should have beat LSU that year. And I think that could have honestly just really springboarded us even more so forward with a lot of stuff. Former needed it because the next year, he was let go. And I'm thinking, we're a year removed from the SEC championship.
I would be very curious to know what the alternate history of Tennessee football looks like. If you guys win that title in 07, does Fulmer survive 08? Is it easier for him to recruit? Going into 08, how much does that class look different? Maybe that's a question we ask Brent Hubbs coming up in an hour when he joins us for his weekly visit. But, yeah, certainly that was a big one. Some turnovers in that game, and that was kind of the end of an era. I mean, it's the last time we played an SEC championship.
Cut left after that. A lot of, we were depleted. To me, that was also the start of the Rivals, Go 24/7, Go Vols 247, 247 Sports era of like young guys playing too early too because of that pressure, I feel like, of having to let your recruits play early. I think that was the start of that next year after that.
Jonathan Crompton in 08.
See what I'm saying?
Took over quickly. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
And Crompton ended up being better. But it's like you mentioned, Jonathan Crompton probably doesn't start for Tennessee in today's, I mean, maybe not. He was pretty highly rated out of high school, to be fair, but you might bring in a transfer to compete with Jonathan Crompton if you had transfer portal rules that we have today in 2008.
We have so many young guys, Will, that I must go ahead and say we're giving, I felt like, opportunities because of ratings and stuff. Yes, 100%.
Interesting.
From that 07 game.
So that one stands out more than any Steelers loss?
No, it's a similar situation, too. 2017.
Okay.
2017 divisional round versus the Jaguars. We were a loaded team. That team, the final game, the final score was 42-45 with Blaine Gabbert. Like, they had a monstrous defense, but our offense was cooking.
Was it Blake Bortles?
Was it Blake Bortles?
Yeah.
It was Bortles, okay.
Yeah.
We were averaging over 25 points a game, and defense was 7th in the league, who only giving up 13 points. And we gave up 45 that weekend, Will. You want to talk, that also was the start of somebody grabbing the top of the windowsill and closing the window on us, too. Like, a lot happened behind that, too. Le'Veon held out again, I think, the next year.
Right.
And there's nothing to be done at that point, man. We had over, Will, 545 yards of offense.
Goodness.
Being had 462 passing yards. So, like,
it's a hard way to go out.
Yes. And the Super Bowl, losing that one to Green Bay. I thought I'd be back in year 2.
Yep.
Never got a sniff at it again.
Right.
Those are my 3.
Right.
Those are my big 3.
Okay. Fair enough. It's a big three of pain. It's more than decent.
Stings.
Making a Super Bowl and not winning it. Obviously, that's going to be the answer for most Titans fans this morning. Understandably so.
Yeah.
In getting to a Super Bowl and not being able to put it away. But, yep, I'm with you for sure. We've already had a lot of those submissions on Twitter at Ramon and Will saying, yep, Titans Super Bowl loss. Multiple ones of those certainly makes sense. So the one for me, I think it's more so hindsight. I'll give you two of them, but primarily it was the 01 SEC championship for Tennessee.
01?
Tennessee LSU 2001, because of the way it happened. Because Matt Mock, who we talked about with Brett Bryan the other day, is a former Titan, a backup quarterback who was 22 years old as a freshman, came in and ended Tennessee's chances at playing Miami for a national championship in 2001. Matt Mock was a 22-year-old freshman who spent 3 years as a catcher in the Cubs organization. Came in for the injured Rohan Davey, ran for 2 touchdowns as LSU won its first SEC title since 1988, 31-20 upset over Tennessee, who was ranked second in the country, and they were on their way to a national title, Ramon, in the Rose Bowl. Yeah. Tennessee would have gone to Pasadena to play top-ranked Miami. So that was the missed opportunity. And you look at the alternate history again of if Nick Saban, a young Nick Saban, doesn't get that title with LSU, does that maybe not set him up to win a national title in 2003, which then sets him up to going to Miami to coach the Dolphins, which then puts him in position to be the head coach at Alabama? Like, you can draw a not so faded line between Nick Saban winning the 01 SEC championship with a backup quarterback named Matt Mock when Tennessee had a halftime lead in the SEC title, 1 half away from the national title game. You can draw a line from that to over a decade of dominance for Nick Saban in Alabama. And honestly, who knows again, like, is Philip Fulmer more safe? Is he safer in 2008 after 08 if he's got 2 national titles? If it was 98 and 01, and granted, that Miami team was a juggernaut in 2001. So I'm not just assuming they would have gone to Pasadena and beaten Miami, but you would have liked the opportunity to at least go for that and give it a, your best shot.
I mean, the spawn of Nick Saban was born again. Like, that's essentially what it was. Pros wasn't for him because of how good he did. I mean, he got the pro job because of how good he did in college, and then that didn't work out. Man, well, you're really leaning into it with that one. I'll be quite honest with you.
It's more about the ripple effect for the 01 SEC championship game than it is. And a lot of people will tell you that team was better than the 98 team.
I've heard
that. The 01 team was the best team that Tennessee football has had in the modern era.
Oh, and it's always to that point. It's never the team you expected to win it, though, most times, too. It's the same thing with the Arkansas situation, the Razorbacks, which started this conversation.
Well, I feel better giving my pro football one because, I mean, obviously, I'll say pro football besides the Super Bowl. Danny, our resident Bengals fan in the chat, has already said that Ramon was a part of his most heartbreaking loss. January 9th, 2016, wild card round, Steelers and Bengals.
Sorry, Danny.
So now that we've hurt Danny a little bit, I can admit that 2021, Ryan Tannehill, 3 interceptions, Bengals loss for the Titans. Derrick Henry making his return, 1 seed, all those things.
9 sacks.
That is, that is, believe me, that is my other pro one. Yeah. Just as a pro sports fan, is the 2021 divisional round here against Cincinnati.
Yes, Danny, that was 2015, by the way, too. Guess what the score of that game for him was?
What's that?
18-16.
Yep.
I remember. Yeah, the Ryan Tannehill game, man. Did we solely blame him?
Yeah. I mean, probably a little unfairly, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
Defense had 9 sacks. Joe Burrow couldn't stand upright. Yeah. You had some questionable 2-point conversion decisions.
I mean, the play calling was
one questionable one.
Great either.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
being in the red zone and throwing a screen pass, and now Tannehill didn't look off the defensive back, but
the Mike Hilton one's the only one that wasn't totally his fault. Yeah. But
oh my God!
Still, the first play of the game. I mean, it just. We were talking all week about, like, what song should they play when Derrick Henry runs out of the tunnel? Yeah. Like, that was a huge topic, and, like, Derrick's making his return, and that's obviously what happened.
Yeah, that's tough, Will.
Justin, what you got for yours?
Outside of the two NFL ones that you already mentioned with the Titans Super Bowl and playoff loss, I'm going to go with the 2017 Cup Final.
Yeah, in Game 6.
There was two calls that you don't want the refs to insert their dominance for, and they did so. Game 1, Philip Forsberg's phantom offsides call was a really big game changer. They end up losing Game 1 5-3. They go home to win 2 games, so now it's 4-4. Game 6 back home where the Penguins ended up winning the Stanley Cup. Colton Sissons' goal that was waved off
because
of goaltender off interference.
They said the puck was frozen and it wasn't.
Right.
That's what it was.
It's because he didn't have a good angle on it.
Yeah, right.
Oh.
Right.
But those two calls really, I think, prohibited the Preds from actually winning the Cup. I think they would have won.
Wow.
It was a tough one. This city was on fire for the Preds in a way that they never have been before and haven't been since. Downtown was so much fun. So much. Were you in here? Were you in Music City for any of that?
I was not. Not for that era, man. I was not. I was probably here in the off season.
Right. That's what. Right. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Then. No.
No, it was so much fun.
I heard about it though. I mean, that's all you hear is that jump started what you think Broadway is now, right? Like the party on Broadway that is known for. Oh.
I mean, Broadway was packed of just gold.
It's also what helped us get the NFL draft. Was seeing how much Broadway was just on fire for a sporting event like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's tough.
All right, well, what broke your heart in sports? 615-737-1045. Chris in Manchester leads us off. Hey, Chris.
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing this morning?
We're great, Chris. Good morning.
Hey, I got a couple of statements before I get to my 2 heartbreaks. First of all, go Vols always. Vol till I fall, bleed orange.
Yes, sir.
But, let me tell you, Arkansas, that deal couldn't have happened to a nicer bunch of people I've ever met in my whole life. They got everything they deserved the other night. Good for y'all. Y'all got it. All right. Now, let me tell you my heartbreaks, and both of them involved the Vols. So the first one is one Mr. Dooley and LSU Tigers with the freaking too many men on the field
2010.
at the end of the game. All right. And then the second is Mount Cody with the blocked field goal against Alabama. Y'all, I'm telling y'all, I got PTSD. I go into shakes in the middle of the night from it. It's just awful. So that's it, fellas.
Chris, I'm going to be real with you. When I played against Mount Cody in Baltimore, I tried to give him a little extra for you and me.
Thank you, Chris.
For you and for me, Chris, I tried to give him a little extra because luckily for him, he wasn't on the field long. I'm serious.
How long was his NFL career, Mount Cody?
Maybe 2-3 years. Maybe 2-3 years, Will. And I promise you, dude, just hogging up space. And I promise you, I tried to give him a little extra.
He played 5 years, played 57 games.
Okay.
2010 to 2014.
Longer than I thought. His biggest moment was then. Yeah, that one got me. I'm going to be honest. We were sitting around watching that one.
I was at a wedding in Knoxville, actually.
Oh, my God.
Family wedding. Watching it. Heartbreaking.
I got so much because, I'm through and through Tennessee. It oozes through.
For sure.
And the team knew it, too. They were just blessing my heart like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my word.
Zach in West Nashville is next. What's up, Zach?
What up, Zach?
Oh, good morning, guys. Moan, I know you had a very productive day yesterday, and I don't want to, kind of ruin that for you. But, man, bleeding black and yellow, man.
Yeah.
Golly, that Packers game, man, where Aaron Rodgers snake bit us, man, that was mine.
Yeah.
And I had a roommate of mine that's actually a cousin of mine. He grew up next to Chad Clifton's uncle, and so he was a Packers fan, man. And we had a bet on it, and he won that one, bro. But y'all have a good Friday, and I'll hang up and listen.
No doubt.
Thanks,
Appreciate that, Zach.
Appreciate the call.
Aaron Rodgers was perfect that game. He was everything that
surgical.
It's surgical. Yes, is what you call that, Zach. He was He was surgical, Will.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen him and Jordy Nelson connect like that ever again. Like, it was insane. Guys were in the perfect spot. We were thinking, like, when he started throwing over Troy, we was just like, well, if he can throw over Jesus, then he can throw over anybody. Troy's very spiritual, by the way, and, like, the hair and everything.
Sure.
It was – we gave him all we had, plus the fumbles and turnovers and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. A couple other ones and submissions we've had on Twitter at Ramon and Will. Again, you can call in 615-737-1045. Jonathan writes in, says, the infamous Braves loss to the Cardinals in the wild card game, known as the infield fly that went 100 feet in the outfield, Chipper's last game. 100%. I remember that like it was yesterday. 2012 National League wild card game, Andrelton Simmons fly ball, and that was a 100%. 100% not an infield fly. Multiple runs should have scored.
Yeah.
Braves should have had a shot. Chipper Jones's last game. What a way to go out.
He get a ring?
Yes, 95.
Okay.
Rookie season, I believe, too, yeah.
Imagine.
Got one his rookie year and then never got one again.
I know there's rookies on every team that win a Super Bowl, but do they understand what they get themselves into?
Right.
Like on championship teams?
Well, as you've said it, like it's easy to feel like you're just going to, it's just how it works. That's how we're just going to get back there.
No.
Yeah, with 95, that was his rookie year.
Wow, man.
Yep. He hit 265 with 23 homers that year. Not close to his best season.
I mean, but still, as a rookie, that's 23 homers
not
to
bad.
do it.
Not bad at all.
Yeah.
Daniel up next for most heartbreaking losses, 615-737-1045. Hey, Daniel.
What's up, Daniel?
Hey, good morning, guys. One quick thing about a rookie. Nolan Ryan made the World Series as a rookie and never made it back in 69.
There you go.
I'm telling you.
There you go. Yep.
Heartbreak. 2003 Cubs and NLCS and Steve Bartman.
Oh, yeah.
And a big what could have been. Bobby Petrino, big Razorback fan here, not knowing how to ride the motorcycle, which led to John L. Smith,
Yeah.
to Brent Bielema, to Chad Morris, to Sam Pittman.
Yeah. Do you think he was actually, I heard he was hit off the motorcycle. He didn't actually fall.
I know he had someone on the back and probably lost his balance.
That's fair.
That's what they say.
Daniel, I'm not trying to spike the football and twist the knife
go
on you
ahead.
this morning with the baseball loss, but like how cursed do you feel? Like, are you a big college baseball fan too?
Oh, yes. I love everything Razorbacks. I've lived here damn near 20 years, and I get it. 2018 is probably the one that hurt the most.
Yeah.
What happened the other night, it just kind of was very reminiscent to the 2003 Cubs. You had a mishap that happened, and then a botch ball that happened right next play, and then things just started spiraling.
Yep.
So it kind of, and the same thing happened in 18. As soon as that ball dropped between the three guys, you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
And there's no way this can continue the rest of this game and carry into game 3. And then it happens. It happens with a lot of teams and a lot of different sports.
It does.
It's what we love about sports. It's
Right.
the passion. And when it goes good, it all praise. But when it happens, it's like, damn. Then you want to stick your head in the sand.
For sure.
I'm telling you. Appreciate that.
Appreciate the call, Daniel. I feel bad for you. I really do.
Yeah, that sucks. Because here's the other part, too, behind Arkansas. Like, they're going to have to really overspend to try to get back to that moment. Then you're pressing to get back to that moment. Then you've also played late, so you're potentially missing out on portal kids now.
Right.
It's a snowball effect.
It is. I really do think that Dave Van Horn does things the right way.
Yeah.
And that program is, I mean, really, there's kind of a big three in college baseball over the last about 5-6 years. LSU, Arkansas, and Tennessee have been the best 3 teams of the sport.
Yeah.
LSU's got a chance to win a second title in the last 3 years this weekend against Coastal Carolina, and Tennessee got its title last year. But it's kind of those 3 teams than everyone else in the sport at the moment. 615-737-1045. We'll go rapid fire on the phones. What's your most heartbreaking loss? What a way to start a weekend on a Friday. The most heartbreaking loss you have had as a sports fan. Loaded phone lines. We'll get to your thoughts on it coming up next. Summer is heating up, and so are the career opportunities at Lee Company. What's going on? It's Will Bowling. Their team is hiring skilled tradespeople in HVAC, plumbing, electrical, sheet metal, and more. With 80-plus years in business, Lee Company offers competitive pay, top-notch benefits, and free training to help you grow. So make your next move your best one yet with Lee Company. Apply today at leecompany.com/careers. That's leecompany.com/careers. You can call Lee Company 615-567-1000. Lee Company's got over 80 years of experience, trusted since 1944, open 24/7 with 14 community locations in Tennessee, Kentucky, and Alabama. Lee Company, they're a part of our communities, involved in our communities with Little League, high school sports, local events, you name it. Lee Company is there in our Middle Tennessee community. So check them out, leecompany.com/careers. That's leecompany.com/careers. Lee Company, all you need. Ramon Will at 104.5 The Zone, fueled by Scooters Coffee, talking Heartbreak on this Friday. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, Justin Hawkins, 615-737-1045. We give the number because we've asked for your participation. What is the most heartbreaking loss that you have suffered as a sports fan? Josh is up next. Hey, Josh.
What up, Josh?
Good morning. Mine would be 4 straight Super Bowl losses from the Buffalo Bills and the infamous Music City Miracle.
Josh, were you there? Were you in Nashville at that point, or were you elsewhere?
I was actually living in Franklin, Kentucky.
Okay.
During the Music City Miracle, and I was at a friend's house watching the game and had to leave for work when Buffalo scored the go-ahead score. And I was like, okay, all we got to do is kick it off, and I did the wrong thing and left. Being late for work.
That'll do it.
And I did not know that we lost the game until I got to work.
Wow. Oh, my gosh. That is heartbreaking.
I was in an area of town that the radio station at that time was a little patchy.
Oh, my gosh. Thank you for the call, Josh. That's next level. Because learning about it that way has got to make it so much worse.
Yeah, no doubt. What's crazy is I think that's the first time like a Bills fan is called in to describe how
from their perspective.
Yeah, from their perspective. That's
sure.
Since I've been here, it's the first time I've heard a Bills fan call in about it. Ooh, that's nasty. That's nasty work.
Bobby up next. Hey, Bobby.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Morning.
What about the 2015 Super Bowl?
Okay.
2015.
Panthers 15 in one season just to lose it because the refs couldn't call a game straight.
Oh, my gosh. Well, there's also the conversation, should Cam have dove on the ball?
Yeah, he shouldn't have dived on the ball, but there were some calls that should have been called that weren't.
Yeah, I give you that one. Von Miller was a demon in that game, though, too.
Thank you, Bobby. Appreciate the call.
I mean, he was in a different world.
Funny thing is, the 2015 Super Bowl, I was thinking Patriots Seahawks because that was the year 2015. That's February 1st, 2015. That was Malcolm Butler on the goal line for Seahawks fans. And then 2016 was the 2015 season. So Bobby's still right that it was the 2015 season, but the 2016 Super Bowl where Peyton Manning in Denver.
Trust me.
Rode off into the sunset, the sheriff.
I didn't forget it.
Okay. Sorry.
Did they get us that year, too? Yes, Peyton slid. Peyton slid, got up, and threw the ball again. That was another heartbreaker for me, too. Peyton slid, y'all. He gave himself up. I can't wait to see him this fall. Already asked Callahan about it.
That's right.
Already asked Callahan about it.
That was against you guys in the divisional round.
It was.
1916.
Yes.
Or no, 23-16. 23-16.
Yes, Will.
Yeah.
He slid.
In Denver.
And threw it to Emmanuel. I remember the exact play. And I jumped up. I was like, he slid. He gave himself up. Didn't matter. Didn't matter.
I was a freshman at UT. That was my freshman year. And we watched that in my dorm, and my roommate, one of my best friends still to this day, is a huge Panthers fan.
Yeah, I bet.
And he's UT fan also too. And we lived in Brown Hall together. And he was like, I hate Peyton Manning now. He's like, all these Tennessee fans just because I remember we watched the game in our dorm common area, and he got so mad at everyone in our dorm common area cheering for the Broncos because of Peyton that he was like, I'm going in our room. I'm not staying out here. Stormed into his room, and I was like, I'll go watch the game with you. I don't care. Like, I don't know. You're one of my best friends. Like, I don't, whatever. And I went back in and watched it with him, and he's like, to this day, he still hates Peyton Manning more than any Tennessee fan because he's a Panthers fan.
That's another conversation to be had then, too. Have you ever, from your pro team, hated your college team player? Like, I hated Peyton. I hated Peyton. I hated Malik.
Question.
Yes. Like
Malik Jackson.
Yeah. Yes, I hated him. Absolutely did. I had to go against John Henderson one time. I was praying to the good Lord. It's like,
a good one.
I hate John right now. Like, it was a lot of that, man.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's go to Roy up next. What's up, Roy?
Morning, Roy.
What's up, guys? Seeing the Titans and Ravens 2008 live, division round playoffs.
Yes.
It was like watching a WWE match. Chris Johnson goes down because the Ravens were trying to break his leg. Algie Crumpler gets tackled, lands on his head, fumbles. Last minute field goal by the Ravens for them to win at 13-10, and that long walk across that pedestrian bridge. I think it was sleeting. It was just terrible, so terrible. And I think we beat the Steelers that year, who won the Super Bowl. That was our year, man. That was our year. But thanks, guys.
Thank you, Roy.
Thanks,
that
Roy.
was the curse of the terrible towel, at least as Pittsburgh fans call it. But yes. No, I know.
Listen, I was in high school, I think, then, or college.
08?
08.
You were a
that
senior.
was my senior year.
That was the Steelers Super Bowl run,
It was, right before I got
08
there.
season, 09 playoffs.
That was such a blur to me.
I remember that one, too. Kerry Collins, that offense, they were fun.
Why it feels like we're having a funeral?
Everybody hurts. Jerry is up next. What's up, Jerry?
Morning, Jerry.
Hey, yo, guys. I'm getting kind of emotional when you said funeral. My dad was a Cleveland sports fan. He moved from Crab Orchard, Tennessee to Cleveland, Ohio in the 50s to make some living.
Yeah.
And he was there for the great years of Jim Brown and on through Bernie Kosar.
Okay.
My biggest knife in the back, if you type these two words in, you probably get the right Google answer, but were the fumble and the drive. The fumble in the AFC Championship by Ernest Biner to cross the goal line and put it away against John Elway. And then the 99-yard drive to go to the Super Bowl. I looked at my dad's face, and it was like a knife in his back.
Oh,
wow. And so,
Jerry,
he's gone on to better things now. So
what's crazy, you type in the fumble, and there's a Wikipedia page that has the fumble in the description of the entire breakdown.
Immediately, right?
Wow.
let me tell you something. And Kevin Mack and Ernest Biner were as great as anyone. But on that day, at the 1 yard line, he fumbled and just ripped my dad's heart out. So I forget that. I'll never forget that one.
Man. Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate the call.
Jerry. I hear it in Jerry's voice on that one.
Yep. Absolutely.
Oh, man.
Let's go to Cindy next. Most heartbreaking losses, 615-737-1045. Good morning, Cindy.
Morning, Cindy.
Good morning.
What you got for us?
My most heartbreaking sports loss would be when the Tennessee Titans lost to the Rams in the Super Bowl by inches.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That was devastating for Titans fans.
It was. This town was so totally on fire for this team that it still are in a lot of ways. But Cindy, it was like it was different back then, wasn't it?
It really was. And if I'm not mistaken, there's been a rule change since then that had that rule been in effect, then we would have won that Super Bowl.
Oh, my. Okay, I'm going to have to look that one up there. I do know this, though, hearing from
thank you, Cindy. Appreciate the call.
Coach Munchak was on there, and there's a lot that I can't say about what he told us on that play, but there was a lot of rules as far as the route running on that play. There was a lot of rules as far as, like, the release of the ball on that play that, I'll put it this way, one step could have changed the entire trajectory of that play happening right there.
Goodness.
It is, that one hurts right there, definitely. Because it's the longest yard cliche or motto, whatever you want to say 100%. Behind that one.
Game of inches.
Game of inches.
All those things.
Oh, man.
I know. It is, I mean, truly, everything I hear about the way Nashville was for that run.
Yeah.
This city shut down.
Yeah.
Shut down, totally. Like the way my parents tell me about it, and again, I'm dating myself. I was very, very young at that point, but like everyone in this city was just totally on fire, just crazy into the Titans. Because it was the perfect storm of new team, new brand, totally new identity. Pro football's here. Then wait a minute, we're this good immediately, and we're fighting for a Super Bowl, and it's greatest show on turf, and all these things, and heartbreaking way to go out.
It was.
No doubt.
It was the perfect setup, though. I mean, you were trying to win over fans because at that point, too, everybody else had a team in another city. Like, that was the perfect setup. Absolutely the perfect setup, man.
You can keep giving submissions at Ramon and Will. You can follow the show on Twitter at Ramon Foster. I'm at Will_bowling. 615-737-1045 is the number. Big headline in college sports, Ramon Foster. The SEC and the Big Ten are fighting about college football playoff expansion. We'll tell you which side wants what, and I'll tell you why I'm on the Big Ten side. Coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Good people, nobody wants to deal with the plumbing, HVAC, or an electrical emergency. Most of the time, you don't even know what it's going to cost you or if it's going to get fixed or if somebody's just trying to sell you something you do not need. I'll tell you this, when you call Hiller, the experts are going to solve your problems quickly. They're some of the best to do it, man, and very professional, man, and really good at their jobs, too, and very upfront, too. And what I mean by upfront is the price that you're told is the price that you'll actually pay. And Hiller's been also here for over 35 years. They're family owned and operated, and we love that, good people. Their techs are also, I just told you a second ago, professional, experienced, and trustworthy. And they're all background checked and drug screened, too. And when they're on the way, you'll receive a photo of that tech and a link to track them in real time. So it's no time waiting around for somebody to show up. Their motto is, happy you'll be, or the service is free, and they absolutely mean it. To learn more about Hiller or to book with them, simply visit happyhiller.com.
It is just before 7 a.m. Good Friday morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. It's the best two words in sports. Game 7. The Indiana Pacers stay alive, dominating the Oklahoma City Thunder in Game 6 of the NBA Finals last night, winning 108-91. NBA MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was held to just 21 points last night in the loss, which is his lowest outing in the finals. It's the first Game 7 in the NBA Finals since 2016, and the winner-take-all game Game 7 is Sunday night in OKC with tip-off set for 7 p.m. Central Time on ABC. And in the College World Series in Omaha, the championship is set. 13-seed Coastal Carolina takes on 6-seed LSU in a best-of-3 series. Coastal Carolina, they're riding a 26-game winning streak and looking for their first title since 2016. LSU, they're in the championship after a walk-off win over Arkansas on Wednesday night. They're in the championship for the second time in 3 years after winning the title back in 2023. And in NFL news, 11-year pro and 5-time Pro Bowler linebacker C.J. Mosley announced his retirement yesterday via Instagram on his 33rd birthday from the NFL. The former first-round pick in 2014, Mosley spent his career split between the New York Jets and Baltimore Ravens. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you've got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go for our number 2. This is Ramon and Will, and it is fueled by our good friends at Scooters Coffee. 615-737-1045. The number. You stream us live at 1045 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. The 11-year NFL veteran Ramon Foster in the building. Justin Hawkins, our producer. I'm Will Bowling. And we've been talking Heartbreak this morning. A heck of a way to start a Friday to talk about the most heartbreaking losses that you have had as sports fans. You can still chime in on that at Ramon and Will and on the phone lines if you want to call in as well. As Ramon Foster jogs back into the studio. A little bit of a shorter break today.
What the world? What in the heck?
The Zone decided y'all got Thursday off. We're making you work extra on this Friday.
Get in here early, Ramon. That is a demerit, man. Lacking, loafing, all of those things. Thank you, man. What I miss?
Oh, nothing.
Okay, all right. Well, we're back.
Setting up hour number 2. Brent Hubbs coming up in about 20 minutes. We're going to talk about the NFL offseason calendar this morning. In hour number 3 at 8:20, Ron Slay is scheduled to join us. Our last visit with Slay before his new knees are surgically...
I shouldn't laugh. I laughed right there.
Are surgically given to him.
Is he going to be in studio today?
Yeah, he's coming in today.
I got a bone to pick.
Oh, do you? Oh, good luck.
Did you hear hour 1 of Wednesday show?
Yeah.
No, but I know he was looking for you at the end of our show Wednesday morning.
Yeah, he was, wasn't he? He was looking for you, Hawk.
Listen, I have had my fair share of back and forths with Ron Slay. I have officially retired from being on the opposite side of Ron Slay. I either am on Slay's side or I'm just not picking a side. So best of luck with that one.
Jayhawk, that's what I'm talking about, baby. Let's go. Lean in.
Okay, never back down.
You
Never
have fun.
back down.
Yeah, sometimes back down.
Hawk said I'm looking for
That's
him.
one of the words I live by. So the college football playoff expansion conversation continues, and the SEC is changing its tune a little bit. It feels weird to not be on the SEC side in this, but Ramon, I could not be more against the SEC's way forward.
I saw it.
In college football playoff expansion. So Ross Dellinger at Yahoo Sports wrote about it. This week, CFP leaders took steps toward a change to the playoff selection process as they continue a journey towards 16 teams. So the 10 conference commissioners and Notre Dame's athletic director got a special presentation from executive director Rich Clark and data analysts over adjustments to selection committee criteria in an effort to salvage the committee's role itself and, according to Ross Dellinger of Yahoo, appease Big Ten and SEC leaders. The Big Ten wants more of an NFL structure. The SEC and its coaches coming out of the spring meetings in Destin want a similar structure to what we have now, but with more teams added to the college football playoff. So the SEC and its coaches don't want play-in games.
Right.
They want 5 plus 11. 5 conference champions plus 11 at-large bids. Well, if that happens, the SEC is probably not going to 9 games.
Right.
Because then the SEC can say, oh, we'll just play 8 games. We'll play Kent State, a directional school from our home state, a Big Ten team that's usually the bottom of the Big Ten or a bottom of the barrel ACC team, and then one other cupcake. That'll be our schedule. We'll play 8 conference games. We'll get 8 teams into the playoff every single year. The Big Ten wants 4-4-2-2-1-1. 4 Big Ten automatic qualifiers, 4 SEC automatic qualifiers, 2 from the Big 12 and the ACC, plus at large and a G5, the best ranked G5 like it is now. Where do you fall on this, Ramon? Are you like me? I'll explain why I'm on the Big Ten side in a minute, but what stands out about this process and about the model you prefer at this point?
The 5+11, it leaves a whole lot of exposure. I think it leads to a bigger conversation. I still think it gives the committee a little bit more of influence, in my personal opinion. When you 100%. And here's where I stand. I believe in swings, okay? I do. And that's just where I'm at. I think there's more security, Will, for the 4 and 4 plus. That's the way I look at that one. 4-4.
What do you mean by security?
Because the SEC could get into a dogfight with each other. It can get got by other teams they're not supposed to.
Right.
We watch bowl season every single year where the SEC's lost to this team. I know bowl season is a little bit different, but we are intermingling with different conferences and you're taking losses. That diminishes your ability to get one of those 11 spots after the champions get their 5. And that's, to me, where I'd rather have automatic representation. We take that 4 and they get their 4, and then was it 2, and then 3. The 3, you can still get the at-large, right? So that'd be like Ole Miss getting in last year of those 3 left spots.
Right.
At that point, have those teams fight for themselves. Like, if you're not one of the 4 qualifiers from either the Big Ten or the SEC, then fight for the last 3 is the way I look at it. If you go to 5+11, I think that leaves a whole lot of more exposure to not having any representation. That's my biggest issue with it. I like the automatic qualifier.
I agree, and I think the big reason why is it still values the regular season.
Yeah.
Think about how many November losses happened last season that allowed Tennessee to make the college football playoff. None of those would have mattered. None of them.
That's a ranking, right?
Ole Miss could have lost to Florida. It wouldn't have mattered. Alabama could have lost to Oklahoma. Think about that. Alabama could have gone to a terrible Oklahoma team that late in the season. No show as an offense. Just totally just dead in the water. And it wouldn't have mattered. That is not college football. And that is where the SEC has to realize that the security of what you want and what your coaches want is not what is best for the sport. And this is why, until there is an impartial commissioner or someone that can set the rules and standards of college football that doesn't have a horse in the race, we're just going to get the SEC and Big Ten fighting for what is in the best interest of their member schools and them collectively versus what's best for the ACC and Big 12 and G5 and things like that. What I would love about the 4+4+2+2+1 model is the fact that you're still in the race, but nothing's guaranteed to you in November. So I was listening to Josh Pate's show this week, and he made a good point about this, Josh Pate's college football show, that if Tennessee was 9-1 going into November this year, they would know they could lose 2 more games and still make the college football playoff. But if you only guaranteed spots to the top 2 teams, the 2 teams that make the conference championship game, well, then you have a play-in weekend in the SEC championship game weekend, which I was originally against. I'm starting to come around on this because you play 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5. You have to still win games in November, regardless of if you already lost 1 or 2, because you know that that's all that matters to make that weekend. I also think you're more likely to schedule a good Big Ten team non-conference because that has nothing to do with your playoff standings. You're more likely to go to Columbus. You're more likely to do a home-and-home with Nebraska. You're more likely to say, hey, Clemson, come play us. That way, at the end of the day, if we have a win over Clemson in our record and we have to be one of the 15th or 16th best, we're looking for one of those couple at-large bids. We beat Clemson.
Yeah.
So that's a major feather in our cap. We've got an SEC gauntlet this year. We lost 4 games in the conference, but we beat Clemson, and Clemson's the top 5 team in the ACC. We're 8-4, but hey, we might have a case. You value the regular season so much more in the 4-4-2-2-1 model because the conference races would actually mean something. Yeah. And that's what college football should be about. College football is a regular season heavy sport. It's not like college basketball. It's not like college baseball. It's not like the NFL. The regular season is the event in college football where you feel like that is the peak of everything, and then there's a national title game. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Tennessee fan, and we haven't played a national title game in a while. That's what the sport feels like because only 1% of the sport, because there's so many teams, get to really actually feel like they have a chance to win a national title. So for most fan bases, the regular season is the pinnacle of the sport, and it should be treated as such.
I agree with you there. I'm 100% on board with you, too. And it's also, like you said, up until late. Down the stretch, those games have been positioned for bowl games that guys cop out in. Now you wouldn't have that opportunity to win. And I think they have to get back to that. And the other side for me is you force coaches to continue to develop and try to keep those guys as much as they possibly can because they got to coach not only the starters, but they got to start planning for the postseason, to your point. That late down the stretch moment where some teams can just pack it up and say, oh, yeah, it's the holiday season. We've already got our bids. No, I'm with you. Keep it spicy. That, to me, is what I think is most pure about what college football is you got to play all 12. It needs to be that way. It has to stay that way to me. So, yeah, I'm of that mindset too, man. I'm looking – it's got to be positioning for money. It's just to show that I got more flex than you at this point between Sankey and the commissioner of the Big Ten.
I understand why college football coaches and SEC coaches specifically – don't want to do this because one injury to a key player for that play-in game and everything you did in the regular season is just thrown out the window.
Okay, but it's the same can be said, too, for the playoff series.
I agree.
You know, like if the Vols had what's the availability of Nico moving forward with the cracked helmet and everything, right?
That is where the Jordan Travis stuff with FSU.
I shouldn't use him, Dylan Sampson.
I think that's where the Jordan Travis stuff with FSU creeps into the back of coaches' minds. To say, well, I could go 10-2 in the regular season, but if I lose my quarterback in that 12th game and I got to put in a freshman, and hey, by the way, the transfer portal's open, so I might have backups that are leaving in the middle of all of this. I'm just totally out of luck at that point, when this happens, they're going to fix the transfer portal thing and not have roster acquisition stuff and portal stuff happening in the middle of the postseason. That's maybe the even bigger issue at this point.
So the other part of it is, too, it says if the SEC wants the Big Ten to back off its demand for automatic bids, here's the other part. The SEC needs to promise it will add a 9th conference game.
Yep. They have to. And Brett Bielema said that. I mean, it's more likely, I think, at this point that nothing happens.
Yeah.
Versus you go to the 5+11. I hope. It feels like it's going to be 16. Once you mentioned it could be 16 teams, the 14-team model was out the window.
We're done with that one.
It's hard to put the toothpaste back in the tube on things like that. But, man, I think 5+11 would be awful for the sport. I think the SEC would get 7 or 8 teams in every single year. You would have more conversations like Lane Kiffin had this past year, like, well, why do we want to play in the conference championship weekend? We're just going 9-3 in an SEC schedule. We're going to make it.
But we've seen that happen before, though, too, in other times where it hurt other teams losing in that conference championships and teams that didn't play it and level up or get a better bowl game or get, one of those New Year's Six bowls. Like, I don't think that should be the case because of me losing in the conference championship.
The SEC also, and we'll talk more about this later in the show, they want to see a change in the selection process to more heavily emphasize strength of schedule and strength of conference. I respect what Greg Sankey is trying to do. He's essentially giving the committee saying, hey, this is what your criteria is going to be, which favors us because we have the deepest conference. At the top, it might not be the best conference right now because of the way the Big Ten has won the last 2 national titles.
They're 4 strong. They're 4 is strong up top.
But in terms of depth, I mean, the SEC, you can't argue that part of it.
Northwestern.
Like, the SEC's 8th best team is probably 2 touchdowns better than the Big Ten's 8th best team.
Right.
But the top 3 or 4 can go blow for blow, can go pound for pound a little bit. So the SEC is trying to say, oh, yeah, we'll play 8 games. Here's your criteria and how you justify all these things, and we'll let the Big Ten play 9, beat each other up, and we'll get 8 teams in this every year. Would not be good for the sport.
This is a different conversation, too. Is that 4 too top heavy for them? Well, the SEC, I do feel like it's spread out. Because you look at a team like South Carolina, right? Or the potential of what Auburn can be this year, who's climbing out.
I think it's more that, like, because South Carolina still lost to Illinois in the bowl game last year.
It's a bowl game, though, too. But like I said, we minimize.
That game actually had starters in it.
Yeah, there I was trying to minimize.
Not every bowl game is created equally. Right. That one, at least to my memory, actually had starters playing in it.
I can't wait to college football come back.
Thomas had called in earlier talking about most heartbreaking losses. Want to get to him before we get to Brent Hubbs on the other side. What's up, Thomas?
Hey, Thomas.
What's going on?
Not much.
So somebody already had called and said mine, which was the 08 loss to the Ravens. I agree with everything he said. It was one part, though, that stuck out more than anything else that made it more heartbreaking that he didn't mention, which was the non-delay a game call that they did not call at the end. And it was like a 3 to 4 second. I could be a little dramatic. It's probably like 2 seconds. Where before he said, hey, they didn't call anything and put him in field goal range.
Yeah.
That pretty much made them win the game. But, yeah, that was it. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Thomas.
Man, I appreciate you holding for that, Thomas. It always seems longer.
Delay a game is tough because you're supposed to get a beat, which is like in basketball. It doesn't – the second it hits 0.9, you still get that 0.9 all the way down to 0.
Yeah.
So you're supposed to get a beat where if the ref can look up, see it, and blow his whistle, that's kind of the 0.9. But there's such a gray area.
I've always wondered is it a buzzer on the hip? I never asked the ump that.
I don't know. It's a good question. I don't think so. I think they just look.
They look too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Coming up, VolQuest's Brent Hubbs, a massive recruiting weekend again for Tennessee football, including another 5-star prospect on campus this weekend. We'll set the table for that coming up next. Ramon Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone, locally owned in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. With Vol Network analyst Ramon Foster, I'm Will Bowling. Pleased to be joined this morning by another Vol Network teammate, our very good friend, Brent Hubbs of VolQuest and On 3, ahead of another big recruiting weekend for Tennessee football. Good morning, Brent. How are you?
I'm doing outstanding. Hope you guys are doing well this morning.
Yes, sir. We have maybe hurt some feelings this morning, Brent, because we have been doing a topic of people's most heartbreaking losses. And Ramon went into 07 SEC championship. I went into another LSU loss in the 01 SEC championship, Brent. The alternate history of what could have happened if Tennessee just beats Matt Mock, Brent, I know is painful for a lot of people this morning.
Well, the 0-1 loss was the most significant. Now, you can debate whether there was something more painful in terms of losing on a Hail Mary or, like you lost to Florida, 3 times in a row or whatever it was. But, I mean, the fact is in 0-1, you're just coming off your biggest win when you win at Florida in December, and you got to beat LSU to go to the national championship game, and LSU loses their quarterback and their top running back. And you can't stop the quarterback draw for 2.5 quarters of football. And what was a really good team fell short. I don't know that they would have won the national title that year, but they had a chance to play for it. And those opportunities don't come along very often. Philip Fulmer said this, and Ramon, you would know this because you played in that game. Fulmer always said the hardest game to play was the SEC championship game, because you were looking ahead. And I remember in 98, Doug Dickey came in the locker room and told the team after they beat Vanderbilt, and they had to go beat Mississippi State. He said, and they were undefeated number 1 in the country. He said, congratulations, but as of right now, your rear ends, so he didn't use the word rear ends. He said, your asses are going to the Citrus Bowl. And they, everybody in the locker room was like, what is this crazy old man talking about? Like, he ain't even saying congratulations or nothing. But you talk to players on that team, and they will tell you the hardest game they played that year was trying to get the energy and get up to play Mississippi State in the championship game because of what was ahead of them. They were a heavy favorite, and they'll all tell you that was the hardest game to play was that year. So the championship game can be really hard. Tennessee just did not in 0-1. They did not handle the emotions of beating Florida at Florida. They had the parade around the track. People are, have roses in their mouths. It's like, hey, you got to go take care of business next week. And obviously they didn't get it done.
That's the
that
thing.
one was painful.
Yeah.
Obviously, that one was painful if you listen to that story, right?
Right. I remember that's the story my brother would tell me. It was like, no, everybody had roses in their mouths. Jeez. Like at halftime of that game, people had roses in Atlanta. I mean, just crazy.
If we can move to 07 then too, Hubs, I got to ask that question because that was the year UT, that was my junior year, the 07. That was the year we had the great offense. Cutcliffe was cooking, Ainge was cooking, the defense was good, man. And I remember us going into that November month and just thinking, if we do this, and this, making the SEC championship, we're going to the Sugar Bowl. That was the biggest thing, getting the BCS Bowl.
It's a big deal then.
And we lost to LSU. Let me ask you this, because Will and I talked about it. What's history like for Coach Fulmer, Tennessee, if we win that and go to a BCS Bowl in that era? Because we lost, and the wheels came off the next year, too.
Well, I mean, it changes everything. I mean, think about it. I mean, we live in a world where a year removed from going to the SEC championship game, they fired a Hall of Fame coach. Yeah. If you win that championship game, you're not firing him the next year. I mean, yeah, it certainly changes the fortunes. And Fulmer always believed, and every coach should, but he always believed that what happened to him in 2008 was just a down year, that they had a really good team, that they were going to be good in 2009, and they were, this was not a trend. This was a blip on the radar. Obviously, that's not what Mike Hamilton and John Curry and the powers that be thought. But Fulmer felt like he left. He doesn't feel like he's ever gotten the credit for the team that Lane Kiffin inherited, if you will, that there were good players on that team ready to go play and ready to go win. Now, could they have figured it out at quarterback that year and all those things? But to answer your question, you're not going to fire the Hall of Fame coach after he beats after he wins the SEC championship game. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, on to more positive topics now, Brent. A big recruiting weekend for Tennessee football. It feels like
we didn't even bring up 13 men on the field.
I know. That got brought up this morning. We've had Purdue Music City Bowl get brought up, even though the stakes weren't nearly as high. But
Mount Cody in Alabama.
Take your pick on the Music City Bowl loss for Tennessee. That was most heartbreaking.
They created the 10-second runoff rule because of Tennessee for the Music City Bowl against North Carolina. You lost 2 Hail Marys at Florida. I mean, I could go on and on. On to more positive.
You're right. Absolutely. So, Brent, it's amazing. Just kind of looking for the broad perspective, and maybe for the Tennessee fan that is starting to dive into some of the recruiting weeds because it's June and this is crunch time for a lot of big-time recruits. But just from the broad perspective, Brent, how much potential is there for this 2026 class? Because there are a number of 5-stars, including the running back Savion Hyder, who's going to be on campus this weekend. Tennessee appears to be in a really good spot. Yes, it's June, but there are a lot of 5-stars. The Vols are right up there with. How much potential is there for this to be a pretty special class for Josh Heupel?
Well, I mean, it's potential. It's a matter of can you close? Can you close with Darius Gray? Can you close with Savion Hyder? Can you close with defensive end Hezekiah Harris? Can you flip a couple of guys, Zion Gibson, who you just had in last weekend? I mean, they're in on the right kind of people, and the people you're wanting to get because you're beating out others. You're beating out high-profile schools for them. Tristan Keys and Tristan Givens. It's just a matter of can you close? And we're all trying to figure out what's out there in the NIL world for guys right now. What does all of that look like? Where the relationships? The one thing about Tennessee that I would like to see them do a little bit better job of is they don't get enough. To me, they don't get enough commitments coming immediately out of the official visit weekend. Now, I don't know if they don't push for it that way or what the deal is, but there's a lot of guys who leave and go think about it. They leave. You say, man, they got all the momentum, and then you look up and they're at Texas A&M this weekend, which is, Tristan Givens, the defensive end from Carver down in Georgia, Columbus, Georgia. He was always going to visit A&M. Legend Bay, great name by the way, wide receiver from Texas. It was all Tennessee on Sunday when he left town. And now he's decided he's going to take a Texas A&M visit this weekend. I would like to see them close things down and get guys to shut things down better than what they do. I think that's a little bit of their philosophy. They're not the most aggressive and necessarily, you got to jump in now or you may not have a spot. I mean, they don't play some of those games because I think they feel like, they want the guys to really want to be here. So they've got to survive some visits this weekend. And I think that's they've got guys in town the last weekend, which is what you want to try to close it out. Then you're trying to survive a couple of key visits by other guys to other schools this weekend who have been on your campus the last couple of weeks. But the potential is definitely there. They have brought in some really high-profile, really good players. It's just a matter of do they land those guys here at the finish line? Because most of these guys are making decisions here in the next 3 weeks before they get into their senior season of football. So most guys are going to be off the board. You just don't see a lot of fall decisions anymore. There's some, but not nearly what it used to be.
With that being said, how do you see them faring with other defensive guys? I know you mentioned Tristan Givens, who's going to A&M, but also Darion Albert too. Like that D tackle spot is always one of the most crucial ones, especially with the size and build of Darion Albert. It reminds me of build a little bit of like Omar Norman Lott, that type of guy. And I know Rodney Garner loves those type of explosive guys. Where they sit with the defensive side of things.
Well, that's one of the biggest news items of the week is that Albert, who's from Columbus, Mississippi, has canceled his visit to Mississippi State. He was scheduled to go see the Bulldogs this weekend. He has canceled that visit, which, if you're reading the tea leaves and you're adding 2 + 2 and getting to 4, that one looks like Tennessee is what that looks like. I think they had a great visit with him last week. He felt very comfortable. He talked about visiting Mississippi State when he left last week. His father acted like they were done. And so I think as the week has progressed, they are done. And I think that's a positive sign for Tennessee. He's supposed to do something On July 1st or around July 1st. Tennessee's also recruiting a teammate, TJ White, who's a linebacker. I think Tennessee's sitting in good shape with both those guys right now.
No doubt. They're also dabbling a little bit into this 2027 class. What does that process look like on the early stage for those guys coming up right now? As they've already got a commitment out of it from JP Peace?
Well, you're trying to get them on campus.
Campus.
It's what you're trying to do. I mean, some quarterbacks come off the board early. You have some situations like JP, which is, a legacy guy who grew up in Knoxville, Tennessee, loving Tennessee. He was going to go to Tennessee. I mean, there was talk he was going to camp at Florida and Clemson and Alabama and LSU. And, when Tennessee offered, he was not going to tell Tennessee no. It was just one of those deals. I mean, he admitted, like, back in January when he came for a junior day, somebody said, what would it mean if Tennessee offered? And he basically said it means I'm a Vol. And so once they offered, it was going to be, everybody knew it was like, okay, when is this going to happen? Not if it's going to happen. But as for the other guys who are outside the state, non-legacy guys in state, you're just trying to get them on campus as much as you can. They've got their night at Neyland camp coming up on Sunday night. That's their last camp of the year. I don't know how many guys will be there for that. They had a bunch of kids in the 27 and 28 class for the barbecue deal that they did a couple of weeks ago. So right now, Ramon, you're just trying to get them on campus as much as you can, get them back for games this fall, to put yourself in a situation where you've got a chance to have an official visit with them this time next year and be in the hunt to try to land their signature. So that's what those underclassmen are about right now. There'll be a few commit really early, but outside of the quarterback, most of those guys will be doing something this time next year.
Brent Hubbs of VolQuest, our guest this morning on Ramon and Will. Brent, the big final visit this weekend for Savion Hyder, the number one running back in the country. How good of a position is Tennessee in? What do you feel like he needs to see in order to break the tie, so to speak, between Tennessee and Michigan, the two teams maybe at the top of his recruitment?
Well, it's a great question, and Savion will not do an interview when he leaves or after the visit. He just doesn't do them. He just keeps everything to himself, and people around him have indicated as Tennessee and Michigan as the top two teams. I do believe that's the case. The good news for Tennessee is he was here for the 865 Live event 3 weeks ago, and he's turned around and coming back. He's been here multiple times. I think distance from home is a bit of a factor as well. Opportunity here. Darrell Sims done a really good job with him. I think at the end of the day, obviously there's NIL in play, rev share money for him in play. That'll be a discussion. I do think that, those numbers are going to be very comparable between the two schools, and it'll get back to a comfort level. Where does he feel most comfortable? And, Tennessee's showing him all the hospitality they can and trying to make him feel like, this is a better place for him to be at for the next 3 years instead of Ann Arbor. So it'll get back to a little old school recruiting for him at the end, because again, I think financially, I don't think anybody's going to be significantly ahead of the other school because of how talented he is. So it'll come back to relationships and comfort.
I know Tristan Keys, Brent, was on with some of the national on-3 guys at an interview this week saying, the money is not the end-all be-all for me. I want development. I don't just want to go to the highest bidder. With Tennessee coming off that visit last weekend and the LSU wide receiver commit, another 5-star, going back to Baton Rouge this weekend, how much does Tennessee feel like it can survive this weekend with Tristan Keys kind of going back to where he's committed, and what's the latest in that battle?
It's a great question, too. When he committed to LSU, it was a surprise to everybody that he jumped in as quick as he did. There's some ties to LSU that he has with the coaching staff there, and I think that's, from high school, from his younger years, I think that's the biggest concern that you have. Again, I don't think there is necessarily a highest bidder there in terms of somebody who's going to offer a vastly greater amount of money than the other when you're talking about LSU and Tennessee. So I don't think it's going to be all about money. I think the question there is, where is he with Brian Kelly versus where is he with Josh Heupel? Where is he with, Kelsey Pope versus LSU wide receivers coach? I'll be curious to see who all goes on that visit. Is the whole family going? To my understanding, when he committed to LSU, Mom wasn't there. I don't know that that's set great. So I think LSU is going to have to do a really good job with Mom this weekend. He's got a younger brother. You better show the younger brother some love, because he'll be on the visit as well, and he'll be a guy that's going to be recruited in a couple of years. I think Tennessee's worked both those angles pretty well. But again, I think it's going to come down to where is he most comfortable offensively, development. LSU will obviously sell, Tennessee's offense doesn't put a bunch of people in the league or this or that, and Tennessee's selling production and Cedric Tillman and the guys we have in the league and all those types of things. So at the end of the day, I think that one's going to get down to where you're most comfortable. Where do you feel most comfortable? Who do you feel most comfortable with? Because, again, I don't think you're just going to outbid somebody for him in this day and age. I think that's changing a little bit in terms – there are certain cases where it's going to happen, but there's going to be other cases where with elite players like that, I don't think one school is just going to, be $600,000-$700,000 above some other school out there that's the other finalist.
Hubs, you speak about this recruiting. I'm always fascinated for guys' reasons for committing. And you said now like the money's just a normal part of it, so it's not the biggest thing. So my question I have when you talk about like these 5-star guys or, or school tilting or football team tilting talent, do guys consider committing to try to change or like a team around? Because it's been a while since Tennessee's won a natty. Like, are they selling, hey, you could be the piece or I'm the piece to help change this around? Because if you get a Savion Hyder, Tristan Keys, Derwin Gray, like that is and also with Faison Brandon, that changes a lot, Hubs. Is that part of their mindset or is it just money and who's going to, treat me the best?
Well, the money thing's fascinating, and here's why. For the elite prospects, the money's going to be pretty even, okay? Mm-hmm. For, I don't want to call him a second-tier prospect, but for a guy who is not in the 5-star elite, the money for them is different now than it was 2 years ago. Why? Because you have schools who are doing rev share of $15 million in football that 2 years ago wasn't spending hardly any money in NIL in football. And so now you're looking at some guys that you're competing with, and now maybe Cincinnati is a factor when you're head-to-head with Cincinnati on somebody. The kid from Powell High School went to South Florida this week instead of Tennessee. And you're like, wait, what? Part of that was South Florida sold him as he was going to be the man down there. NIL-wise, they've got a little money, probably could be financially compatible to what Tennessee was willing to offer that type, that player. So for that below the 5-star elite level, those guys, the money can be different at different places. So you can be in a bidding war with those guys. I think for the elite guys, it's probably less of that. And yeah, Faison's calling guys. He's calling Tristan Keys going, man, come be my guy. Let's go win this thing. You get some peer recruiting going that way, but we live in a world where it's a lot of individualism, and that doesn't mean that they're bad teammates or bad team guys, but these guys transfer now and they still talk to each other. They're still buddies with each other. Hey man, you got to do what you got to do type deal, right? So it's a little bit different than it used to be in that regard. You still work that. Does it have the impact that it had 15 years ago? Probably not. Because all these guys look at it and go, well, I can move next year if I want to. Right. Now the question's going to be, what are they going to do with the transfer portal window? That's a whole topic for another show, but, and that may change how much guys transfer and that type of deal, but it's got a little more individualism in it right now than it did, 10 or 15 years ago. Because when you made a commitment 10 or 15 years ago or 7 years ago, you were locked into that place because nobody wanted to transfer and sit out. Right. So everybody just rode it out. There were days, Ramon, you're like, man, I'm out of here. Yeah. But you're like, I got to go sit for a year. Well, I'm just going to stay here and fight and go win a job. Mm-hmm. Now you can say, well, I'm out of here and I can go play somewhere immediately. And that's changed the kind of the culture of it all in recruiting.
When you look at also that setup, Hubs, I was talking to Ron yesterday, Slay, and he was giving me a scenario of how guys, they rent out 5-bedroom houses. They have their own cars. They don't borrow and carpool anymore. Is there a coach anywhere or staff that can somewhat force guys hey, you guys need to two to an apartment, two to a house? Or do they have to stay on dorms as freshmen anymore? Is that a requirement now too? Since, they can pay for any apartment in any college city for the most part.
Yeah, no, they're not living they're not living. They're not living 4 people in a 2-bedroom house. Over in the fort. I mean, it's just not happening. They're not living in a dorm. I mean, a lot of them are buying a house. And using it as an investment. And when they get done, they just flip it. They just sell it and move on. Some guys rent, but I mean, there's some guys that they don't even have a roommate. I think there's a point in time Nico didn't have a roommate. I mean, he just lived in a house, like a house. I mean, but I mean, when you were making 7 figures, you go buy whatever house you want to go buy. Right. I mean, I would describe Nico's house as a modest house for someone making the money he was making, in Knoxville, Tennessee. So no, it's different in that regard. Okay. And I think that's, part of there's a couple of challenges from a team camaraderie standpoint that are a little bit different. And there's a couple of challenges from a college experience standpoint that are different. One, guys aren't living on campus early on in their careers. They're not living with roommates. I mean, what was there, 4 of you in a house?
Heck yeah, 5 at one time.
5 at one time in 4 beds, right? I mean, so it's one of those deals where you guys are friends for life. I mean, you guys had a bond there that was different. A lot of these guys now are taking online classes. They're not on campus very often. They just take a lot of online classes. And then when they get done with football and they leave the complex, they know their football teammates, but that's really all they know. They don't really get the Knoxville experience or get the campus experience because they're kind of isolated from things. And I think that's unfortunate, but that's the world we put ourselves in with all the new, all the new rules and everything that's out there, or lack of rules that's out there now. And so creating leaders, culture in your program, is a real challenge, is a constant challenge, because you're probably not going to have a big senior laden team very often. Right. So what we talked about with Tony Vitello's team that won a national title, that team was so different because all those guys had been through the battles together to build to that point. They had so many seniors who had been through that program and had been there for multiple years. They were easy to coach. They're different to coach when you're playing 4 freshmen and 3 transfers. Right. And those are the challenges that coaches have, and nobody feels sorry for those coaches when they look at their salaries.
It is a brand new world, no doubt about it. VolQuest Brent Hubbs joining us this morning as he does every Friday at 7:20. Excellent info as always. The best of VolQuest covering Tennessee athletics. Appreciate you, Brent. Thank you, sir. Have a good weekend.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir. Brent Hubbs with us this morning, presented by our friends at Ascend Federal Credit Union, your financial partner for every stage of life. We will react to that. So recap a blowout in the NBA Finals for you to wrap up hour 2 next.
It's Ramon Foster for Two Rivers Ford, man, and I got a huge announcement from Two Rivers Ford. Two Rivers Ford is now offering employee pricing for everyone. That means you pay what they pay on almost every new Ford on the lot. At Two Rivers Ford, what you see is always what you get, too. They don't do things like add expensive accessories or tack on service packages to increase the price of vehicles. No, none of that at all. Two Rivers Ford is upfront and honest every single time, and now they're offering you employee pricing. And there's no better time to buy American. There's no better dealership than Two Rivers Ford. Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, and they're home to the non-commissioned salespeople, too, and now home to employee pricing for everybody, okay? From America, for America, Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
Wrapping up the first half of your Friday morning already here on Ramon and Will. We're fueled by Scooters Coffee. Go by and see them in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Scooters Coffee around Middle Tennessee is locally owned. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. Ramon Foster, for the first time in 9 years, we have a Game 7 in the association.
Yeah.
Last night, not a close one. Pacers, 108. Thunder, 91. Setting up a Game 7 for the NBA Finals Sunday night in Oklahoma City. This one was not close, was it?
It was not, man. And here's the thing. It was a blowout, as far as the scoring goes, but it was still exciting. It wasn't as if it was just a one-sided, hey, this is going to be the way it's going to be the rest of the game. No, this was a very exciting, very physical, and very entertaining game, too, man. I absolutely loved that crowd in Indiana. There was no way I thought they was going to rally the way they did. I should have expected it. But, of course, with Tyrese Halliburton dealing with this calf strain that he supposedly has, and the threat, too, because the last person to have one of those kind of calf strains was Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant played, popped his Achilles. So it's kind of interesting watching Tyrese Halliburton last night because it seemed like they rested him the way they needed to, and then you had other guys that just stepped up in major way, man. So what is his name? TJ McConnell.
Yeah.
A dog with the ball in his hand. To a dog, the plus 10 with him out on the court last night, and you can see why. He has this dribble, pull back, step back, fade away. Like, it is good, man. But again, everybody played a role for that team, man, including coming off the bench, Obi Toppin. Very exciting. Hit some threes when they needed them to, man. And just all in all, this is, for mid-market teams, it's very entertaining. I suggest anybody to watch this, especially if you want to be a hater of either one of them, too.
Pacers started the regular season with 15 losses in 25 games. They've had 5 comebacks of 15 or more down to win games in these playoffs. Now, one win from a title, and Indiana just doesn't go away. I mean, that's the whole point of what they are. Even down in the series, down in the game, it doesn't matter. They have not heard a bell. That is for sure. TJ McConnell, the spark off the bench, 12 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. I saw this stat this morning from Heath Cummings on Twitter. This is crazy. Chet Holmgren is the only NBA player to shoot 9 or more shots, score 9 or fewer points, turn the ball over multiple times, and have 0 assists in a finals game since 2013. He has now done that in back-to-back games.
Chet's getting bodied.
Yeah.
He's getting bodied.
You said that like it personally hurts you.
I said because, he's because I played against guys like him, just super tall, reach over you and get a rebound and stuff. No, they are getting into Chet, man. Like, legitimately. Like, watching Miles Turner get physical with him at times around the bucket, it is fascinating watching how they're putting body on Chet, because here's the thing. When they took off in Oklahoma, it was Chet, to me, that I felt like the starter. He's up and down the court. He's hitting threes. He's driving. He's dunking. He's putting putbacks. He's putting the ball back in the round off the rebound. I think he stirs a drink a lot more than he's given credit, to be quite honest with you. And they did a real good job, too, last night of shutting down Jalen Williams. Like the 40 ball that he had about 3 nights ago.
Sure.
Can't allow that. And the other part, oh my gosh. The psychological side of players is I love watching it, because I knew when Jalen Williams got that 40, we were going to see Shai Gilgeous-Alexander try to go off. And he's dribbling into a 3-man defense. He's shooting the ball with 5 guys basically. He think he's Kobe out there, because when you have, and I say that out of respect because he's the MVP,
sure.
But when you have Jalen Williams drop a 40 ball on somebody, a 40 piece on somebody, the guy that's the star is going to want to get his too. And I think it became a detriment to them as a team, watching SGA try to become the man last night and take it over. It hurt them, I felt like, watching him do that last night.
So in this Game 7, home teams are 15-4 in the NBA in finals Game 7s. The bad news for Oklahoma City, though, is that Cleveland won at Golden State in the last Game 7 in the NBA in 2016. One of the 3 other home team losses was 1978 by Seattle, which, of course, then became Oklahoma City. So interesting, to say the least. Sunday night will be fun.
Yeah, it will be.
Very, very fun. That'll be your replacement for your Sunday night HBO show, because there isn't one right now on HBO.
Apparently, they surprise dropped a documentary that a lot of folks are talking about, this Ohio State locker room thing.
Oh, I haven't heard about that.
Oh, yeah. Apparently, no press, no anything, and it's supposed to be pretty doggone good, Will, so we might have that before the game.
Sure.
Yeah, and that was one of those doctor scandals at the big. I'm not going any further.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm going to try to check that out, though, at some point.
615-737-1045 at halftime of the show. The College World Series Championship Series is set. We'll dive into that. Plus, something Brent Hubbs said that I want to react more to with Ramon Foster on one way college experiences as athletes has changed in a major, major way. We'll talk about that next. Hey, it's Will Bowling. If you've been looking for cars, you just see the words buy here, pay here. Maybe you have looked elsewhere. Most of those dealers come with certain reputations. But I'm here to tell you there's one place you can go. It's Nolensville Road Auto Mart. They're different for a few simple reasons. Firstly, they've been doing business in Nashville for 61 years. They are Nashville natives at Nolensville Road Auto Mart that only sell clean title cars under 12 grand. So if you are not a Nashville native, if you're moving into town, you want a place to trust that knows the market, that's got your best interest in mind, I'm here to tell you, Nolensville Road Auto Mart is going to take care of you. And the Google reviews, excellent. That's saying something for a car dealership. 615-242-1279 is their number. They've got one location, Nolensville Road, close to Thompson Lane. They will get you in and out in an hour or less. The best part? They're the oldest buy here, pay here in Nashville. They'll work with your own financing if you got it. Flexibility, transparency, and honesty is why I recommend Nolensville Road Auto Mart. You can call them at 615-242-1279. That's 615-242-1279.
It is 8:03. Good Friday morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. The best 2 words in sports is Game 7. The Indiana Pacers stay alive, dominating the Oklahoma City Thunder last night for Game 6 of the NBA Finals, 108-91. It's the first Game 7 in the NBA Finals since 2016. In the finals for Game 7's home teams are 15-4. The winner-take-all Game 7 will be Sunday night in OKC. Tip-off set for 7 p.m. Central Time on ABC. And in the College World Series in Omaha, the championship is set. 13-seed Coastal Carolina takes on 6-seed LSU in a best-of-3 series. Coastal Carolina is riding a 26-game winning streak into their second-ever championship appearance when they won it back in 2016. LSU arrives in the championship thanks to a walk-off win over Arkansas Wednesday night. This is their second appearance in the championship in 3 years, and they won it back in 2023. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you've got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Friday morning, 2 hours left here on Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee. Visit a locally owned Scooters Coffee location near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. I'm just telling you, there is no better way to celebrate a Friday than a warm Scooters Coffee cinnamon roll and a hot coffee to go with it.
Tell them, Will.
I know it's hot outside. The warmth of the cinnamon roll, the warmth of the coffee. Look, we all know Friday calories don't count.
That's what they tell us.
Vacation calories don't count. Friday calories don't count. So just go buy Scooters Coffee today. They're amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. You'll scoot on down. And Ramon Foster, they'll thank us later, won't they?
No doubt about it. And as hot as it's going to be this weekend, those calories just going to burn off.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean,
they'll sweat it out Saturday. That's okay.
Vitamin D processing already. You know
100%.
Get out, move around. So do it on Friday. Make up for it on Saturday because it's going to be nice and hot for you, okay?
That is right.
Listen, these are where the good advice tips come from, okay?
We care so much about you that we are improving your day.
Also,
by sharing this information with you.
Be very aware of where wasps are because I rubbed where I got stung, Will, and it hurts right now. Yes,
yeah, I bet it does. Don't do that.
I know. I didn't even think about it at first. And friendly reminder, Mr. Wasp said, Ramon, you owe us one for disturbing our nest.
Mr. Wasp.
Yeah, man. Golly, I'm still mad about that. Everyone I see moving forward, I'm killing it. I don't care what happens after this, okay? And don't try to, save the wasp.
Well, then you're just going to get stung more if you try to go out of your way to kill them.
I'll go buy a bee suit.
Okay. Unbelievable. 615-737-1045. We stream the show live, 1045 The Zone TV. That is Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. The F&M Bank chat is open. The 1045 The Zone YouTube channel where we recommend you go. Follow us on Twitter at Ramon Foster, at Will_Bowling. The College World Series Championship Series beginning tonight. I'm locked in, Ramon, for Coastal Carolina and LSU. LSU beating Arkansas, of course, in dramatic fashion, 6-5 on Wednesday night as the Tigers battle for their 8th national championship and second in the last 3 years. A little bit of a rematch for Jay Johnson, the head coach, who was the head coach at Arizona in 2016 when Coastal Carolina won the national championship. Wow. So not only is it rematch for him, Coastal Carolina got to Omaha in 2016 by beating LSU in the Baton Rouge Super Regional 9 years ago. So lots at stake this weekend and mainly a national championship, of course.
I'll be looking forward to it, man. Seeing if LSU's got real good pitching, but their consistency sometimes on the bump sometimes gets a little AWire from time to time. And I want to see how they go against a team who seems to be very disciplined, very calculated, and just good at the plate. With the team like Coastal Carolina, man, I was talking to somebody yesterday. It's like I'm not sure what they do bad. They're good at the plate. They're good defensively, and their pitching staff is just cruising. I'm trying to find just like the box scores of how many runs they've scored. Like if you have a paper cut, they're gonna make it a gash. It's the way they are. Like they are a seek and destroy type of team. So LSU's got to come correct.
Starts tomorrow. Not tonight. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday if necessary. Kevin Schnall, the first-year head coach, took over the program this year after 21 years as an assistant in Conway, replacing Gary Gilmore, who led Coastal to a national title in 2016. The Chanticleers have won 26 games in a row. That's insane.
That's nuts.
In baseball, to ever win 26 in a row at any level. I don't care if you're U12.
Yeah.
I don't care if you are Major League or college or AA. 26 baseball games in a row is insane.
Yeah.
That is legitimately insane. Also insane, Ramon, they have a school record hit by pitch number this season. Coastal Carolina batters have been hit 176 times by pitches.
They hug the plate.
They sure do.
They hug the plate. And I'm sure they recruit a guy that understands that, too. Like, this is my box, man. I found their score 7-4, 6-2 against Oregon State, and then, 11-3 versus Louisville. Like, they've just been cruising at the World Series. This isn't even their super regional. I think they scored like 16 runs or something like that one time.
Yeah,
too.
no, they are well-rounded. Well-rounded. They've got their big-time starter will probably go Sunday. Jacob Morrison expected to pitch in Game 2. Second in the country and wins with 13. Fourth nationally with a 1.98 ERA. But Cade Anderson for LSU getting the ball in Game 1. You got to feel good about their chances to take the first game of the series. So should be a fun one.
It should be.
Coastal and LSU best on best at this point. They are the two hottest teams in the country, and that's a deserving national championship series.
Because of how it ended, do you wish that Arkansas and LSU were on separate sides? Because I felt like that was a championship game.
It felt that way. I think that's doing Coastal a little bit of a disservice because they have won 26 in a row. But it felt that way, you're right. Especially just the packed ballpark and two SEC programs and two of the three best SEC programs over the last decade of the sport. I mean, two of the best just overall in the sport. Yeah, that felt like the national title series.
Yeah, and like you said, not to dismiss Coastal, but like I said, being an SEC guy, watching that matchup, what it meant, and also the theatrics, the storylines behind it too for the coach at Arkansas, that was a heavy game. I know those guys are still probably feeling that one.
I think the thing for Arkansas is just it's going to be the team they least expect that goes all the way and makes a run to win a national title.
100%.
It's usually the way it goes. So Brent Hubbs has tweeted at us. Says, hey, at Ramon and Will, this was our question of the morning today about what is your most heartbreaking loss as a sports fan? Brent Hubbs writes at us, writes to us and says, I epically failed this morning. Says, I'm blaming it on the bean patch, but the most painful Vol football loss was 9-6, 1990 Alabama. Pardon my ignorance this morning, he says.
I looked it up. It was all field goals, too.
Oh,
all field goals. The key player says, I'm looking at the article right now. I don't know why I'm on Alabama Crimson Tide, SI, but the key play of the game came when Tennessee lined up to attempt a 50-yard field goal with 1:51 remaining. Alabama, Stacey Harrison blocked the kick, and the ball bounced around before the Volunteers were able to recover it at their own 37.
That was the first year of the Gene Stallings era in Tuscaloosa. That was not a good Alabama team. They started 0-3 that season, Alabama. Yeah, not great.
I miss the old days.
Yeah. Alabama's starting to go 0-3. Probably not going to happen anymore. No. I mean, unless they play Diego Pavia 3 times the first 3 weeks of the season. But the Alabama state champion, Diego Pavia.
I'm telling you, he's dad right now for a year.
Yeah, that's right.
He's dad for a year, man.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, speaking of our conversation with Brent, he brought up a good point, and you asked a good question about how NIL has changed the teammate dynamic for college football players. And Brent made the point that guys are living off campus quickly. That was not the case when I was there. It wasn't allowed when I was there. Like, even as a freshman, as the 5-star recruit quarterback, you had to live in Brown Hall or Stokely. Or Vol Hall was the other one. And when Stokely opened, that became the athletic dorm. But Vol Hall or Brown Hall were the two athletic dorms while they were building Stokely. And it was cool. Like, no matter who you were, you had to at least do a year or do a couple of years, for a lot of guys, on campus with a shoebox room and 3 or 4 other people. And that doesn't happen anymore. How much would that have changed your college experience?
Man, so much, Will. I mean, just the friendship side of it. And I wrote down something as Hubs was speaking about it, man. I was like, this is how you get bad leaders. This is how you, when it gets tough, like you don't have somebody that's able to rally the guys to help bring them together. Like it's got to be fascinating the guys that the NFL is receiving too, because who are the team leaders other than the guys that the coaches select to be captains and stuff like that? Because we nominated captains, Will, because of what you just said. We've roomed together. We've been in the dorms together. We've seen guys be able to challenge one another, go back to the dorm rooms. I mean, go back to the to the dorms, have dinner together, and talk about it. Like you don't get that now, man, and you can almost see, because of the detachment that they have, how it's easier for Nico to just be gone. Because even when we had to do 2 semesters and have good grades and move off campus. And even when we moved off, it was me, Inky, and Sinclair. Across the street was Rob, Gerard, Antonio.
Gerard Mayo.
Yeah, absolutely. Gerard, my bad. But we all...
First name basis with the former head coach of the Patriots.
I know, right? We're all in the same complex together, though, too. And I was telling you, we'd start off with a cooler kickback at the house.
Yep.
Next thing you know, it's 15, 20 people.
And those were the most fun nights in college, where you weren't planning on throwing a big party or having a bunch of people over. People just keep walking in like, hey, what's going on?
What's going on? And then just that, like when we were doing like mat drills before spring practice kicked off, we knew where everybody lived at, Will. And guess what? Like 3 o'clock in the morning, some dudes are pulling all-nighters because it's the last day.
Right.
Come knocking on your door. Y'all got to get up. We got to go.
Same thing with recruiting visits. Everybody was there to show a big time recruit a good time because everybody lived in the same area.
Absolutely.
Like you're all moving as one. Yeah.
It's
sure.
different. That's why I had to ask him, can a coach even ask of the recruits coming in? Kind of the way Dabo is only recruiting high school.
Right. Like, hey, if you come here, you need to live on campus for the first year and live with 3 other guys.
Exactly.
Right.
Like, but I get it. If I'm getting $750,000 for the year,
yeah, right,
I'm probably gonna want a nice place.
I mean, we talk about all these battles for Savion Hyder, the top running back in the country, and Tristan Keys, the top wide receiver in the country. Like when push comes to shove, if that guy asks, like, hey, I'll come here if I can have a house, what neighborhood you want to live in?
No,
so like when push comes to shove, you want to be able to break ties and give players what they want. But at the same time, you also want to set a culture and set a standard of, now this is the way we do things at Tennessee or at Vanderbilt, at LSU, insert program here at MTSU. Like this is something that everyone's dealing with, and you get in that tax bracket of 5 stars and elite and 5-star plus. What are you sacrificing in that process? It's a great point.
Talking to Savage about it. Like one of the best points of having roommates was, hey, the bowling's coming in town this weekend. Mama cooking. Right. My first crab boil was with Ja'Cory Williams' family. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like L. Ash, who was my suite mate at Gibbs, his parents came in like I never had a Crystals. Like he was like, y'all want a steamer? I was like, what's a steamer? Like at Crystals, you get the 24-pack, and let's like,
it's a good one.
You knew the parents, you knew the families, you knew everything. You know what I'm saying? Like my first time ever having grits was in Atlanta with Inky.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like we was a Rice family growing up. Like we go to Inky's mom in the house and grandmom, and they're cooking grits and sausage and eggs. I'm just like, what is this?
I lived on campus all 4 years just because I wanted to. I wanted to be in the middle of everything, and I lived at a fraternity house for 2 years, but I wanted to be around all my friends because, after college, it doesn't happen anymore.
Oh.
Like, that's the part of it I think today's athlete making that much money won't get.
Yeah.
Is a life experience you will never get again to all live in the same area. It's not a Tennessee problem.
No.
This is happening at every school right now that is paying athletes big-time money, and it's kind of sad, to be quite honest with you.
It is, and I just got to reshift my mind. That's all. That's all it is.
Just something that just won't happen anymore. It's crazy. 615-737-1045 is our number, at Ramon and Will on Twitter, where you can answer the question today. What is your most heartbreaking loss as a sports fan? Lots more submissions coming in. Lots more 2022 Titans-Bengals, unfortunately. When we come back, though, want to talk to Ramon about something Bill Callahan brought up at Titans minicamp a week ago, changes to the offseason calendar and workout format. Last summer, the NFLPA had this proposal of major changes to the offseason calendar. Where does Ramon sit on this as an 11-year vet in the league? And where does Bill Callahan, longtime NFL coach, sit on it? We'll tell you what Bill had to say. We'll get Ramon's thoughts on it coming up next.
You can upgrade her diamond ring this summer with no money down and 0 interest for 5 years. Don't miss this killer offer from Genesis Diamonds. 5 years, 0 interest financing till the year 2030. Not just on engagement rings either. They also have them on earrings, bracelets, bands, colored gemstone jewelry, pre-owned Rolex watches. Yes, you can buy it now, pay nothing down, and spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest. So that $5,000 gift comes out to just about $85 a month. And that luxury pre-owned Rolex starts at only $150 a month. Y'all, this is an insane offer from the jeweler that is always finding ways to bring you more value. All GIA certified diamonds are also included in this. The rounds, princess cuts, ovals, pear shapes, cushion cuts, emerald cuts. Whether you get a $5,000 diamond ring or a $50,000 diamond, you can spread those payments over 5 whole years. Lab-grown diamonds are also included in this. You get the Genesis value price on anything. Pay 0 down and spread your payments over 5 years. But hurry, this is a limited time offer, and this offer ends June 30th and will not be extended. Genesis Diamonds, they're located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Friday morning on Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee, locally owned in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. So Titans offensive line coach Bill Callahan wants changes to the NFL offseason program. Ramon Foster, he is of the same mind as the NFLPA was last summer when they crafted a proposal to NFL owners to overhaul the offseason as soon as this year. Obviously, that didn't happen. But according to NFL media last spring, the NFLPA was in favor of a total elimination of voluntary spring workouts and OTAs in favor of a longer training camp ramp-up with players reporting in mid-June to early July. This is Bill Callahan talking last week at Titans mandatory minicamp. You hear him talking about players and the improvements they had made already, and he's like, what? Kind of, but we don't have pads on, and I would change this whole process. Here's the Titans O-line coach.
Yeah, so far, so good. Yeah. You know, like I mentioned the last time, for all these guys, it's that time of year where the common expression and the saying is, we'll see, as you get into camp. So, I think it's important to have periods like this, where you're amping up and ramping up to get better. And then all of a sudden it comes to a close, and then you're dead for 5 weeks. So the kind of the periodization, from the league standpoint, it'll probably change in years to come, I think, because, if you're training for a world-class competition, if you're an elite athlete getting ready for an Olympic contest, it's kind of insane to practice these 8 or 9 weeks and then all of a sudden shut it down and go on vacation for 5 and then all of a sudden come back in the middle of July and ramp up and go compete at a high level again. So it doesn't make sense, you know what I mean? So I think as the years move on, I think the periodization will kind of dovetail right into a training camp, which is probably smarter. I don't know if the players would like that or not, but from a sports science aspect, it would be a lot smarter, I think, to help a player, kind of merge into the phase that we want to get into. So it's always been crazy,
Is that something you challenge him, though, to make sure that he comes? I know you challenge everybody.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's
for him
like
specifically, or just
you put so much work into these 8-9 weeks that we're involved in, and everybody's worked hard. They've improved all that, but to step away for 5 weeks and then come back and then have to rehash it and redo it all over again, because they lose a little bit. I don't care what you say. They're going to lose a little bit of their edge that they've created because they've gotten better. And it's just like a baseball, player, like a batter. You take 5 weeks out of the cage, the fastball is going to look a little bit different the next time you step into it. So that's a little bit different, I think. So that the timing mechanism of getting everything back to where it's at right now, is really the challenge when you get back to training camp. So that's why I always say, well, we'll see, because it is true, because you don't see, you're excited to get the players competing, but you got to wait for 5 weeks. Just when you think they're at the cusp of really being good, you got to take that break. That's hard. That's tough.
So that's Titans O-line coach Bill Callahan last week at Titans mandatory minicamp. What's your reaction to that, Ramon?
One, I love the fact that he's not outdating himself at all.
I agree.
As a coach.
You wouldn't think someone who's been around as long as he has would have this opinion.
Because most older coaches love that break, get to camp, this is my time, like all of that type of stuff. They get all of that. It's funny, too. I was with him, but then I got more with him, too, when he started speaking about, like, baseball, like the batters in the box, like catching up to the fastball and stuff. That does take time when you put it in that perspective, man, or when you correlate it to that. I side with him. I do. But I do think that break in between, now to the start of training camp, it is nice. I'm not sure if it needs to be 5 weeks. Maybe it's 2 weeks and you get back to it with a shorter springtime. That has been the conversation, is the acclimation side of things, too. When you look at it the way Coach Bill Callahan is looking at it, his way does make more sense to me. Let's get you in. Let's do the OTAs part of it. You can still go home. You can still go do your thing. We'll still have hours as it pertains to how much we can keep you throughout the duration of this summer month. Let's say it starts late June. Is the way it would have to happen.
You'd probably be looking, if you totally eliminated minicamp and OTAs in the spring, and with this proposal for the NFLPA, just at virtual meetings in the spring after the draft, you'd probably have rookie minicamp now. And you'd probably start training camp the 1st of July or right after July 4th. So you would do rookie mini camp, maybe some kind of OTAs or optional mini camp kind of situation, then a mandatory mini camp. Well, I mean, you wouldn't have mandatory mini camp. You would just start training camp probably in early July.
So the only pushback I have on this, though, is football is very taxing. Even OTAs. Like, even minicamp can be taxing, just the mental grind of it, too. Because I look at football because of the physicality component of it, is there has to be somewhat of a break. And that's where, to me, like saying going from OTAs and minicamp into training camp, all within
that's a good point.
6 weeks, that's a lot of beating down when also they're going to put us in pads for a month.
Well, right.
And preseason and just the season in general, too.
There would have to be concessions made by the league because this is a collective bargaining issue.
Yeah.
This is not something the NFLPA can just scratch across because they have collectively bargained in the CBA for what the offseason calendar looks like. So this is not something that's going to happen until the new CBA is ratified.
From a consumer standpoint, Dan, are you okay with it being half times of a season, I guess, or an all-star break? Is that another way to also keep the Pro Bowl up? If you put it, I don't think you can, but like,
yeah, probably not.
The way the all-star game is, or the MLB all-star game is mid-season, because that's asking a lot of just football time and physicality over the duration of the season.
It is, and I think it especially for teams that make deep playoff runs.
Yes.
You're talking about June through February nonstop.
Facts.
It's a long time to be together and working and doing all these things. So the challenge is the NFLPA is trying to use baseball as a key example of why this should happen. To say, hey, if spring training for baseball starts in February, their season doesn't start until the first week in April or the last week in March. They get a 2-month ramp-up period. Why can't that happen for us? Why isn't that as important for us? So Randy Mueller last summer, friend of the show and a former NFL executive, Randy Mueller, does some great work with The Athletic, talked about the differences within baseball and football. And he talked about saying this approach wouldn't necessarily be totally new. In fact, this is what it was like for the 70s, 80s, and early 90s, saying in those days, the key difference, Ramon, is player movement wasn't as big of a thing.
Yeah.
So until free agency was introduced in 1993, you could get away with not coming together as a team until June or July because teams didn't change and you knew the scheme and you knew the different ways that you as a team could hurt your opponent because you as a team, you knew your teammates. Other than a draft class coming in, there wasn't this player movement where a guy's going to 4 different teams in 4 different years. The history of the league is very different, and free agency totally changed that in 1993. So Randy Mueller's point last summer was, well, baseball is an individual sport where you can go away for the winter break for them and spend a lot of time working on your individual craft and then come together as a team for the last 2 months of the offseason and then roll in. Well, football, when you're building an offensive line, when you're building a secondary, a quarterback and wide receiver that need to work together as quickly as possible. In that format, Cam Ward would be throwing in an official capacity to Calvin Ridley for the first time in another 1 to 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So to me, if you change the offseason calendar and do away with April and May and early June workouts to just say, let's put all that in with training camp, you're taking away a rookie class's ability to quickly hit the ground running with their new teammates and free agent class's abilities to mesh with new teammates and play together as a unit and not just as an individual.
Yeah. So to me, the biggest part is there has to be in football, to your point, and the fact that it's less games too. I think there has to be more concentration for football than almost any other sport. And there needs to be a body reset too. Like whenever we report to training camp, late July is usually when you go, unless you're playing the Hall of Fame game. Like there's a body reset where you can get yourself going.
Yeah.
I just look at starting mid-June all the way through the month of July, all through August. And you got to think about the weather component of it too. When is baseball also training?
Right.
They're going to Florida, Arizona when it's mild outside. It's the heat of the summer in most places as it pertains to football.
Great point.
You know what I'm saying? So it's that part of it, too. Corey asks, they would get a longer offseason. They would get a longer start of the year is the way I look at this. And then here's the other part of it, too, for me. When you look at how the spring is set up, I do think we've broke for a while at the end of the season, and there needs to be an acclimation of rebuilding my muscles up. I just think the dynamic of football, the way it's structured, the way it's played, and what's required of it is a whole lot different than, like, basketball, baseball. I mean, soccer. Like, how much muscle, how much of a transformation does a player make in soccer or baseball?
It's a good question.
You know, like, it's not, I don't think it's as extreme as watching, like, J.C. Latham drop 30-plus pounds.
Right. In terms of,
you know what I'm saying?
You need time to transform your body, which has to happen kind of away to yourself.
Yeah. And I think being away for guys a little bit too long. Like, what if J.C. Latham comes in mid-June and you're like, what is this person? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think the way J.C. came in, the way Jeff came in, like, the coaches saw them what they were capable of in minicamp and OTAs, the way it's structured right now, so they can start planning a game plan for them in the fall, in the spring, throughout training camp, instead of adjusting on the fly and trying stuff out when you're not going to depart anymore. Football is just different to me. But I understand what Coach Bill Callahan is saying.
I do, too. I think there's merit on both sides of it. I think Bill's side and I think the NFLPA side saying we're the only sport with world-class athletes that are taking a break right before they start playing is valid. But you got to think about the why of that break. As physically taxing as it is to be an NFL football player, you need that extra rest before the gauntlet that is training camp. It's just a different demand on your body.
Yeah.
In terms of the contact, in terms of the summer heat. The heat part of it, I think, is a great point. Because you're asking guys more in June to go out there. I mean, look at the weather in Nashville this upcoming weekend.
Seriously.
That's everywhere. I mean, it's supposed to be like 100 in Chicago this weekend.
Yeah.
Everywhere. So that's a different kind of challenge that I hadn't thought about, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and that's the difference, too, which is why I think when you do, I mean, you're pretty much, you're shrink wrapping. You're basically concentrating what you're trying to do in that short amount of time. And I do like the dynamic of it, too. It's like if you got it, then show it as quick as you possibly can. And it's also still, to me, hit the ground running for the guys that you know you're going to be rolling with. I do love also breaking, watching guys come back either in better shape.
Sure.
And what is also to me, because I think football, but since it's 11 people that's got to be on the same page, what is your retention of information on that break? I do think that's a part of the job, too, for coaches to see, is this guy just an idiot? Can I trust him if he's a backup that's got to come into the game?
Sure.
Because that's the other part of it, too. Backups, they don't necessarily practice every single day with the starters. And I think that's somewhat what this break is. How can they retain the information that they're getting on the breaks?
Right. It's interesting. I wonder if this does happen, though, in the next CBA.
I'm going to be so fascinated to see how this...
Because I wonder, like, how many players do you think would rather it be this way? Again, the two options we're talking about, if you're just joining us, there's a proposal out there that was last summer. It's kind of lost a little bit of steam, but brought back up by Bill Callahan last week to say do away with rookie minicamp and OTAs, have one big training camp starting in late June, early July. What would players you think would rather do? Have a longer break for the spring and then have less time to themselves in the summer and more of a ramp-up period? Or the way it is right now?
Tell you what, it'll be more spring weddings for NFL players. But here is two-sided to me. As a vet is going to want all that time off. That's why the voluntary side of OTAs is there, too, in the earlier part.
Fair.
I do believe when guys get drafted, there should be an incorporation of the playbook, the team, and the understanding of what it means to be an NFL athlete.
Like immediately.
Yeah,
I agree.
And that's what OTAs and minicamp is. NBA is doing it with the summer with the summer league, right? This happens at there's fall league, I think, for drafted players in the MLB.
Mm-hmm. There is.
And that's the reason I don't think it makes the most sense. What about the new guys coming? Me as a vet, man, if you tell me I ain't got to come in until June, listen. If our season ends mid-January, I know when we got our vacation.
Sure.
I can plan out my life a little bit easier.
Right.
And to your point earlier, I know the playbook. I know the coaches.
I agree. If you didn't have as much turnover as you do today in the NFL,
there's a ton.
I think this makes sense. I think Randy Mueller makes the perfect point to say, back in the day, back in the 80s when teams didn't really change year to year and you knew how to play with the other 4 linemen that you have. If it's just rookies that you're really kind of showing the ropes, then sure, that works. But now with as much turnover as there is in this league year over year, how do you think Brian Callahan would feel having to wait until now to get his hands on a rookie class that he's going to expect to play a lot right away?
And that would have to be the rule, too, is if you got me for 6+ months, right, then you can't talk to me. You can't demand for me to come in. That has to be a part of it, especially on the veteran side. It's got to be an element of it
that's voluntary.
Yes, there is no longer voluntary. You get me when you get me.
Yeah.
So don't contact me and don't talk to me until then.
Dead period.
So for a guy like Coach Brian Callahan, that would be the worst thing possible for him and Cam Ward right now.
That's why it's so interesting that Bill is so in favor of this.
Well, you know why. It's 5 guys that got to work at one. Work is one.
Right, but wouldn't you think that starting that process sooner would be better for an O-line coach?
Yeah, but how do we always speak about our camaraderie? The more we're around each other, the better we get as a group. And that's, I think, his part of it is I'm watching John Ojukwu get a whole lot better, or maybe it's some other young offensive lineman that's getting a whole lot better just because they're around each other getting daily reps. And I get it. He's probably had guys he had high expectations for. Who was it? Charles last year. What is his name? Not LeBentley Charles. Sadiq quit out on that break. You know what I'm saying? So it's that part of it, too, where if he would have potentially had Sadiq Charles throughout the month of June and July, maybe he would have been able to retain him.
I think, too, you're thinking about a guy like John Ojukwu, who was in great spot when OTAs and minicamp ended last season and then came to camp and lost his job as Nicholas Petit-Frere within 2 weeks.
Yeah, because
that's the challenge.
He may have been able to pour into him a little bit more.
Yep.
It's touchy, Will. This is something that got brought up at the 2020 CBA negotiations, too. Some guys wanted to get rid of the spring. Mm-hmm. I'm a huge advocate because I feel like I made the team because of the spring.
Okay.
The undrafted guys, right? There is a real evaluation of dudes that can say he moves like an NFL player, he doesn't.
Right.
You can see traits earlier on in the process more than you think so.
I think the other part of it, too, to wrap up this topic, it's easier for you to give guys a plan for the 5-week break between minicamp and training camp if you've watched them in the spring.
Yep.
Like, don't you feel like the Titans have a very specific plan for Femi Oladejo to say, hey, you are a new edge rusher. Not just to us, but you in the middle of your last season in college became an edge rusher. Yep. Now that we've seen you go up against our tackles, albeit without pads on, go learn these couple moves, and this is the guy we want you to go work with.
Facts.
And, for Chimere Dike, for Elikai Manor, hey, here's your first impression. Here's where you've been good. These are the areas where our data says you could be better. So please go work on this, and this, and come back to us in late July ready to work.
I'm going to be honest with you, to that same point, I didn't feel like I could train good when I was around the team. What we did as a team with our trainer, and I love our trainer, okay? Eric Guimond's one of the best, but my trainer here damn near killed me, okay? And I needed that. And everybody else's trainer too. But you know what NFL staff training does? A lot of them are injury prevention.
Exactly. It's not as much in college about adding 30 pounds of muscle or losing 30 pounds of baby fat, for lack of a better term. It's about keeping your soft tissues and health and joints and all those things just from breaking or snapping.
Exactly. So if you got me that entire time, then I can't be myself, almost.
615-737-1045. Interesting perspective. You kind of won me over on that, to be honest with you. I was kind of on the NFLPA side, and you kind of won me over on it a little bit. Coming up, we'll catch you up. That's right. We'll catch you up on headlines this morning in baseball, a little bit of soccer, a little bit of ownership of the New York Mets for my Atlanta Braves. We'll catch up on all of it. Rapid fire next.
Did you know that up to 50% of the air you breathe in your home comes from your crawl space? Good people, have you ever looked in your crawl space? I get it. Most of us don't even want to know what's in there. But moisture in your crawl space can create unhealthy issues that can make their way into the air you breathe every single day in your home. It's Ramon Will. This is where United Structural Systems can help you. USS has been keeping homes dry and stable in Middle Tennessee since 1994, so you know they aren't going anywhere. Help control moisture and musty smells with mold treatment and crawl space encapsulation that comes with the USS guarantee. Encapsulation helps reduce high humidity in your crawl space. It also helps deter mold and mildew and protects your crawl space from pests and wood rot. So turn your crawl space into a healthy space. Reach out to the company I trust for all foundation repair and waterproofing. That is United Structural Systems. You can get to them at their website at usstn.com. That's usstn.com, or call them 615-488-7855. United Structural Systems.
Ramon Will wrapping up hour 3 this morning, fueled by Scooters Coffee, 615-737-1045. Locally owned scooters near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Ramon, I'm hesitant to say this because it's June and because they've been terrible. Dare I say the Atlanta Braves are back? I'm daring to say it. They were 3-14 less than 2 weeks ago in their last 17 games. Coming off a 7-game losing streak for the second time this season. Yesterday, they swept the New York Mets, Ramon Foster.
Wow.
The Mets bring out the best in my Braves. They really do. We could be dead on arrival. We could be passed out in bushes. And the Mets are like the smelling salts that wake us up. Here we go. All right. Gotta go beat little brother.
Yeah.
The Braves scored fewer than 5 runs 12 times while losing 14 of 17 games from May 20th to June 8th. The Braves have now scored at least 5 runs in 4 of their last 6. I might be back in on Major League Baseball this year.
Hey, you sound like Daddy's home.
Might
man.
be back in. They're still 5
home.
games below 500. They still got a lot of work to do. Still probably not going to make the playoffs, but Spencer Strider's healthy. Chris Sale has a 1.0 ERA in his last 5 starts, or since the beginning of May, a 1.00 ERA. Spencer Schwellenbach's cooking. Dare I say it? I don't know.
Sounds like we're back.
No, wait, stop. Yes. Yes. It's going to happen.
With that being said, like you mentioned, like 5 games under 500 in baseball, that's nothing, right? Would you expect, like, this is a momentum league, too? Like, when guys start hitting is contagious. You know that, too, man.
I know. They're too streaky of a team at the plate is their problem. They got a bunch of guys that are either world beaters or single-A hitters, and there's just no in between, and they're all streaky.
Where's Acuna at right now? He's
off to one of his best starts of his career. He was up at a 400 average yesterday.
He's
played about a little over 20 games.
Yeah.
Got 10 homers.
Yeah, that's cooking right there.
He says he's in the best shape of his life. That is wild for someone coming off an ACL, but
it's this time. Well, he had a longer break this time with the ACL, though, didn't he? Because I felt like last time, I told you when I went to the game.
In 22?
In 22, you could tell he visibly limping then.
Yeah. He always kind of runs like that a little bit. Like, he's just one of those people that's always kind of like hobbles.
Okay.
But I think he's being smarter about not sprinting out every single ground ball, not sprinting in every rundown.
You know what's crazy? Coaches kill you for stuff like that.
I know.
But when you become a pro.
When you become him, you just like, hey, Brian, I'll just shut it down a little bit, bud.
Yeah.
Let's see 80% effort running out that ball.
Yeah. You knew you weren't going to get there.
95, exactly. Our question of the morning on Twitter at Ramon and Will. What is the most heartbreaking loss you have suffered as a sports fan? Gator Mike is up next. What's up, Mike?
You know, this pains me, both y'all being ball alums, but my 2 that are tied for number 1 are both ball losses.
Okay. What?
Number 1 would be obviously that 2001 game, because obviously if we win, we're going to SEC championship and national title game. Coach Sprayer's last home game in the swamp, delayed because of 9/11. I was there.
Yep.
Painful. Rex Grossman comes up 2 points short. Travis Stevens runs all over us. And then, of course, the 1998 game, Collins Cooper can't hit a chip shot field goal. It leads to the Vols' first national championship. My 2 honorable mentions, Will, you'll appreciate this. The LSU Jacob Hester, where they went and got converted 4 fourth downs. That was painful. I'm like, can you stop them on 4th down? And then the James Wilhoit field goal, the 51-yarder to beat Florida, Dallas Baker.
Ron was there. I was there.
I was a redshirt freshman.
Yeah, 3 of my 4 are ball losses, so that's painful for me. But, definitely a great topic for this time of year, where we have really just baseball and stuff going on. But hope you are doing well.
Mike, I got a question for you. You seem to be very well traveled in the sports world. Is there a major event you haven't gone to?
I've never been to the Masters. I've always wanted to go.
Okay.
I've been to a Super Bowl. I've been to a Rose Bowl.
Nice. Natty.
Been to Natty. Yep. So haven't been to Natty in basketball. That's the one thing I regret with Florida having 3 now. Yeah. The closest I got was going to see that 2014 team in Memphis. Or Indianapolis, one of the 2. Anyway,
Indianapolis.
but the Masters is obviously top of my bucket list. I'd like to knock off, and of course, hopefully the Preds will get a Stanley Cup game here. So that would be great. But I've been very fortunate, obviously, with my job and stuff like that, sports teams we've dealt with and stuff to check those things off the list. But great question, Ramon. But always great to talk to y'all, and happy Friday to you. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Mike. You as well. Appreciate the call. I mean, the Tennessee-Florida one that hurts the most on our side. Oh, this is not bad timing now for this music. The Tennessee-Florida loss on our end that hurts the most is Jabbar Gaffney.
Jabbar Gaffney.
You know what I'm talking about?
I've heard it time and time again.
You seen the video of the Jabbar Gaffney catch that was called a touchdown?
Yes, I do remember that one. I do remember that
2000.
one. Yep.
2000.
Shouldn't have been.
From the host of The Bachelor throwing the football.
It's one out.
He didn't catch the ball.
He was bobbling going out.
Not even, he just didn't catch it. Like the ball just dropped to the ground and they called it a catch in 2000.
Well, the Titans have a very similar one like that too against the Steelers. It was when a replay game came into play.
Yeah.
I've heard Rhett speak about that. We talked about it on the station, I think, if I'm not mistaken. In the end zone in Pittsburgh. Yep, they had cars parked in the end zone.
Yep. I'll retweet it now from the show account at Ramon Will, where you follow the show. Whew. Just awful.
Let it go, Will.
I know. I was 3, so it's fine.
I know, but the pain is never leaves.
Yeah, no, any loss to Florida, even when I don't remember when it happened, very painful.
I hated them because they just dominated us. And I had to be teammates with a few of them.
It is so crazy how quickly that Tennessee-Florida rivalry became the rivalry. And for so many people, still more than Alabama.
Yeah.
For so many Tennessee fans, they hate Florida more than Alabama.
I may hate them more than I hate Bama. Is that fair?
A lot of people agree with you.
Yeah. I hate them more than I hate Bama.
I don't, but I could get behind it.
No doubt.
It's kind of 51-49%.
Yeah, it is. I agree with you there.
615-737-1045. We'll get to Micah on the other side. We'll get to Ron Slay coming up at 9:20 this morning. There are options out there for college football playoff expansion. Which one is the best, or would you rather just stick with what we have? That's next.
It is 9:03. Good Friday morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. Game 7, the best 2 words in sports, as the Indiana Pacers stay alive, dominating the Oklahoma City Thunder in Game 6 of the NBA Finals last night, 108-91. It's the first Game 7 in the NBA Finals since 2016. And in Finals Game 7's home teams are 15-4. So the winner-take-all Game 7 will be Sunday night in OKC, with tip-off set for 7 p.m. Central on ABC. The College World Series in Omaha, the championship is set. 13-seed Coastal Carolina takes on 6-seed LSU in a best-of-3 series, with Game 1 tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Central Time. Coastal Carolina riding a 26-game winning streak in their second ever championship appearance, as they won it back in 2016 in the first appearance. LSU arrives in the championship thanks to a walk-off win over Arkansas Wednesday night. This is their second appearance in the championship in 3 years, and they won it in 2023. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you've got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go into the fourth and final hour on your Friday. This is Ramon and Will with the 11-year NFL veteran and Vol for life, Vol Network analyst, humble Hendersonville's own, the pride of Ripley, Tennessee. I'll just gas you up on a Friday, Ramon Foster. Justin Hawkins, our esteemed producer, hitting all the right buttons behind the glass. I'm Will Bowling, 615-737-1045. The number. We stream the show live at 1045 The Zone TV for 60 more minutes, or just below 60 minutes. To finish off your weekend. Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Hit the subscribe button while you're there on the 1045 The Zone YouTube channel. Help us get a little closer to 20,000 subscribers as the community continues to grow, Ramon Foster.
Can I ask you something real quick?
You may.
I know you hadn't even mentioned it, man, but USA 1-0 on Saudi Arabia, man. What is that? Confa? How do you say it?
What was that?
What is that? Conca? How do you say it? How do you say it?
I'm just enjoying your ways
of Cup.
I'm just enjoying the ways you're trying to say it.
CONCACAF Cup.
There you go. CONCACAF. The Gold Cup.
CONCACAF.
Let's hear it for Ramon Foster.
1 point for me, okay, for never
quitting. Pat
quitting.
McAfee famously called it CONCAFA.
CONCACAF.
And that's the name of his TST team, the soccer tournament team.
That sounded like a medical condition right there.
Son, you've got a bad case of CONCACAF.
CONCACAF.
Yes, the U.S. getting a 1-0 win over Saudi Arabia in the North American Championship. Just had to let that breathe for a minute because it makes no sense. But yes, Saudi Arabia and oftentimes other teams and CONCACAF will let teams from other continents join the Gold Cup. U.S. with a 1-0 win. Hoover, Alabama's own Chris Richards with the goal last night for the U.S., who was not great, but good enough to beat Saudi Arabia last night. So they're through to the group stage, and they continue with one final group stage game against Haiti to wrap up group competition.
Is this like they get the automatic bid anyway. This isn't a World Cup situation.
No, this is happens every other summer. There's a lot.
Okay.
It's a problem in the sport. There's too much tournament play going on.
I was getting lost right there. I was like, hold up, this isn't a World Cup situation.
Well, and then we've got the Club World Cup, which is going on today at Geodis Park.
This is all going on at the same time.
Yes.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
All right. Okay.
So a lot of our players aren't playing for the U.S. because they're with their club teams in the Club World Cup.
Okay.
Or they're just tired, like Christian Pulisic, because they've played a whole season and they just
don't want to
play this summer.
Do like Elsa and let it go.
I'm trying to. Esperance and LAFC today at Geodis Park. I'll be there. It'll be fun.
Be there. What time is it tonight? About
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. Okay. All right, for sure.
The Club World Cup, they've moved around a lot of the kick times in order to get European people to watch it.
Okay.
Because if we played primetime games here, like a 7 p.m. game in the U.S. is 1 a.m. in London.
Okay.
So they're putting a lot of the European teams earlier. So anyway. Tunisia versus Los Angeles today.
Tunisia versus Los Angeles.
In Geodis Park.
Okay. Should be a good matchup.
I have no idea.
I was going to say, well,
I'm not going to lie to you and pretend to know anything about Esperance, other than that they had 400 fans marching on Broadway last night with fireworks and flags and drums and stuff. There are people being charged with felonies for shooting off fireworks on Broadway last night.
What they expect? It's that time of the year. People shooting off fireworks already in my neighborhood. There was no felonies over there, Will. Well, it's the destination. It's Broadway.
Brandon on YouTube writes in, says, this is why nobody cares about soccer. The format is way too confusing.
Hey, I'm the one that asked about it today, okay?
Biggest sport in the world, baby. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Format doesn't trip up the rest of the world, just trips us up. That's okay.
I was genuinely concerned about it. It was like, okay, we got a win right there, 1-0 against the Saudi Arabia.
We did.
I'll take that.
We did. They probably won't win the tournament, but
I love how you're such a realist.
Well, we have a B team, and Mexico and Canada have A teams. So we have a B team playing this tournament right now, which is our own fault. I digress. So, college football playoff expansion, Ramon Foster, a big point of conversation. We've got essentially 4 options at this point.
Yeah.
Remaining where we are. This all according to Ross Dellinger of Yahoo, who's been all over this story. Remain where we are, 5 automatic qualifiers plus 7 at large. That is not the SEC's preference. It's not college football commissioners' preferences.
No.
Expand to 14. 5 automatic qualifiers plus 9 at large. Add 2 more at large teams. People are not really huge on that either. Then there's the most likely 2 situations. Moving to a 16-team field is option 3 and 4. Within option 3, you go with the Big Ten's approach of 4 bids automatically for the SEC and Big Ten, 2 bids for the ACC and Big 12. Then you go at large from there, plus the best G5 team. Mm-hmm. Or you go with the SEC's model, option number 4, 16-team field, 5 automatic qualifiers, plus 11 at-large teams, making the college football playoff. Where do you fall in this? What's the best way forward?
So real quick, too, this 5 automatic qualifiers is the top 5 ranked teams in the country, according to the AP poll and CFP, or just
top 5 conference champions.
Champions.
Top 5 conference champions in all of these.
I side with the 4 and 4 from the Big Ten and the SEC.
I do too.
I'm there because it's the 2 that needs the most representation. To your point about the 5 conference champs plus the best of the rest, that could get real dicey and it's going to cause more problems. I feel like if we adopt that one, it creates more problems for the future to say, well, why are you guys overly represented? And they'll say, well, you get to the show and then you lose. Well, the way it's judged and the way it's based is, well, an Ole Miss team may be better than USC, even though USC may have a higher record. Like, it's that portion of it, too, that has to be considered. It just creates a bigger issue for me. And I also look at this and say, too, I like the 4 and 4 because it erases the fluff. Meaning this, the Big Ten has 18 teams.
Yep.
18 teams. That bottom half right there is not that great.
It's bad.
It's bad.
Yeah.
And if you're telling me we're taking the best 4, we know what the best 4 are in the Big Ten. The way they situate it right now.
Yep.
SEC has to figure that part of it out. I look at the representation of the 2 big dogs more than anything. Mm-hmm. I see where Sankey's coming from it. It almost seems to me that if you concede and allow the Big Ten to run with this model,
right,
then does that also mean that the Big Ten gets decision-making duties moving forward? I just look at the ego
and
of
Big
it.
Ten are sharing decision-making duties.
I just look at it as ego almost at a point.
Oh, there's a lot of ego.
The 4 and 4.
It's college football, baby. There's ego everywhere.
It's nuts, man. The representation is greater when you go with the 4-4, 2-2, 3 and 1.
Yeah. It's 4-4, 2-2, 1-1.
2-2-1-1. Yeah. That makes more sense to me, to be quite honest. And I think it opens up the field also to other teams that have the ability to get into it. Mm-hmm. If you're good enough, we're going to come get you. That's the way I see that situation. I'm not a fan of the 5 plus 11.
The 4-4-2-2 model makes the regular season matter so much more. So much more.
Yeah.
There is something for everyone to play for in the conference, unless you are in the bottom 4 teams of the conference, essentially. And I also think, Ramon, it makes up for the scheduling inequities that we have in the sport.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean by that is, if you're Florida and Oklahoma this year, you have a playoff caliber roster.
Easy.
But the schedule that both of those teams have is not playoff caliber. The schedule that both those teams have. Ron Slay's made his way in the studio a little early this morning as he joins us here in a minute. But do you need help?
Nah, man, you need help. That's what co-host need help. That's what needs to do.
Ron Slay says no, Ramon needs help. We'll get to that in a minute. The point I'm making is that
I'm going to come to you.
Teams like Indiana, we don't play the what if game on
Right.
what if they had Ohio State's schedule?
Yeah.
What if they had Oregon's schedule? Teams like Florida and Oklahoma can survive a very unbalanced and uneven and more difficult than anyone else's schedule. Like Florida and Oklahoma's schedules are so much more difficult than Tennessee's this year. And Tennessee still has a hard schedule, but you make up for that by having the third place team play the sixth place team in a play-in game and the fourth team play the fifth team to make the playoff.
You know what will also ruin if you do that, the play-in? The team that loses is just done. Like those players, what I mean by that is like there's no bowl game for those guys.
I think there still would be.
I know there is, but what I'm saying is like the amount of players that'll be committed to play in the bowl game to the losing team, like the interest is gone. It's almost like the Super Bowl before the Super Bowl if you don't make it.
Yeah,
I'm playing the side of it's just like, well, what do we have left to play for? Other than development of everybody else, and then the portal opens up and stuff like that. So, and I know that happens a little bit now, but that does kind of dead a lot. It kills a lot for the losing team. If we're speaking about bowl games, retention, and stuff like that.
Fair. Let's go quickly to Micah. Worst loss you've ever experienced, most heartbreaking loss. What's up, Micah?
Thanks for taking my call. So I haven't been around for a lot of these, but the worst one that I've been to, like in person, would definitely be in Memorial Gymnasium 3 years ago on the buzzer-beating corner three. Oh, that was painful. But every time Tennessee loses to Vanderbilt, just in any sport, that's the most painful losses, in my opinion, for the Vols. But that Memorial Gym buzzer beater, I think, was the worst.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate the call.
He made Savage roll his eyes.
That's a good one.
That was a real one.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that was one right there, man. That was one for the books.
And Julian Phillips not taking the wide open layup to pretty much put the game away.
Yeah.
Tough one.
It was a lot.
I feel Micah's pain. You grew up a Vols fan in Nashville, and you lose to Vandy in hopscotch, and you're going to hear about it.
I feel him on that one.
You're going to hear about it.
That was crushing. Also, I think the Lady Vols losing like that this year, too.
That was bad, too.
At Memorial.
Yeah.
I felt love Micah. I love how he prefaced it. I ain't been around a long time, but
I have to preface things that way sometimes too. Coming up next, we'll talk more with Ron Slay and find out why Ramon's in trouble. Coming up next. Hey, what's going on? It's Will Bowling for my friends at Brentwood Hearing Center. If you're spending time out at the beach or the pool this summer, maybe you're thinking, I got to take the hearing aids out. Or, hey, maybe I don't have hearing aids yet, but I'm just on the other side of the pool. Can't hear the conversation going on. I want to hang out with the kids, the grandkids, the parents. This affects people of all ages. If you feel like you are on the outside, you're on the sideline of conversation, we'll let Brentwood Hearing Center get you back in the game, including hearing aids that are water resistant, helping you hear in those situations when you're outside, when it's crowded, you're at that outdoor wedding, you're at that company party over the summer, a picnic with the family. You find it difficult hearing conversation because you're hearing people behind you more so than you are the person in front of you. Well, Brentwood Hearing Center has the technology you need to fix that. Maybe I'm not describing you. Maybe I'm deciding or talking about a family member. Give them a call, 615-377-0420. Brentwood Hearing Center's doctors of audiology will take care of you and meet your individual hearing care needs. They're online at BrentwoodHearingCenter.com, 615-377-0420. Brentwood Hearing Center, better hearing, better life. Studio roof off. Friday morning at 9:20. That is when our good friend Ron Slade joins us in studio here on Ramon and Will. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, Ron Slade. What's going on, my friend?
What's happening? What's happening, y'all?
Here we go.
What's happening, good people?
The beef is starting.
See, all I'm saying is, what's up, good people? That's all I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? See what's going on with the good people out there today, man.
And
on
good
this
people
Friday.
only.
Only the good people.
Justin earlier this morning asked us on air,
what'd he say?
is Ron coming in studio? First of all, I said, who's Ron?
That's right, Will.
Secondly, I said, Slay? He goes, yeah. Because did you hear Wednesday's 3HL? I said, I missed that, but I can guess what happened. Considering the conversation that was happening in the chat. I told him, I said, I've learned early from being on this show that when you go up against Ron Slay, I've learned I'm either on Slay's side or I'm not picking a side.
You can't miss. You can't miss. See, and guess what, Will Lee? Let me go and explain to the people. See, this is the problem. I got a brother. I got a couple of them. You know what I mean? But one in just specifically this one. This man here, like, people don't get it. Savage is the guy that when you are you're at the school lunch table, right?
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Everybody, sitting there coming up with something to do, and like, hey, man, dog, this is what we're going to come up with. They coming up with a plan. Say you got senior skip day coming up. Yeah. They coming up with a plan. Savage done got it all laid out. Like, hey, y'all, I'm telling y'all, be there at such time. Boom, bam, bip. We're going to get in, get out. We're going to have a ball, you know what I mean? And then Savage is the one that's going to show up an hour late. He probably still going to go to class the next day on senior skip day, get his attendance, and then leave. While everybody else just didn't even show up. And then he going to show up, you know what I mean? So when y'all return and people get in trouble, Savage going to be like, oh, man, I'll check in. I don't know why y'all didn't check in.
When it was his idea to begin with.
You feel what I'm saying? Or let me go and put it in another way too. The great movie, the legendary movie, John Singleton, Boys in the Hood.
Boys in the Hood.
Man, listen, man. It was a part at the end of the movie. Doughboy's played by Ice Cube.
Yeah. Ice
Cube's brother, Ricky, gets shot.
Mm-hmm.
So Trey is Ricky's best friend who lives across the street, grew up with him, So Doughboy, Ricky, and Trey, all good friends.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Doughboy and Trey decide after Ricky gets shot, they want to get revenge. Trey thinks about it in the house for a second and says, you know what, I'm cool on it. I ain't going to do nothing. Trick his Pops. Pops go back into the living room. What is Trey? Trey being Ramon Savage Foster. He climbs out of the window and jumps in the car with Doughboy, and they skirt off. They ready. Come on, Doe, let's go get him, man. You know what I mean? Everybody hyped up. Everybody ready. The mission is going down. They loading up. The choppers is going down. We're going to get revenge. Halfway down the street, Savage is like, you know what? Hey, man, I'm cool, man. Let me on out of here. You know what I mean? It's over. Let me out, Doe. Let me out, Doe. And what people forget is Doe, who is Ice Cube, and his other two partners, Monster
and Duke,
they got to go carry out the mission. Anyway, Savage is already out. Savage on his way back home. In this case, Doughboy is Jayhawk.
Okay.
So he's been gassed up. Yeah, I want to go get revenge. Yeah, absolutely. So when they pull up to the spot, Jayhawk jumps out and forget Doughboy, who is Savage, has already exited the vehicle. It's just him. So you got to carry this mission out on your own. People, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Savage is the guy with the big wooden spoon when the gumbo has been made or the crawfish bowl has been stirred. He's going to stir it.
Melt 4 sticks of butter.
I'm telling you.
Here's that Southern Boy seasoning.
The man is a phenomenal stirrer, dog.
I'm here for the sausage.
I'm here for the vibes.
Y'all got to
Louisiana crawfish.
Come on, dog. So I say all that to say, he's not going to be around to protect you, So now you are here standing on the plank thinking that both of y'all was going to get jumped off the ship. And Savage is in the crow's nest pointing and laughing. And with understanding with me. And understanding everything is fine. So I say all this to say, man, Jayhawk jumped out there with his What'd you call it? Par Hawk?
No, that was Will.
What? Don't put me in this. No. You went on the same thing to me.
You went off the parsley idea and go Par Hawk. I said maybe Pop, but that doesn't work out.
Listen, J-Hawk.
How are the turntables?
You can't get to stop pointing fingers at anything. I'm telling you.
Quick back at Will.
So did it like that was Will.
No, it's just the name.
The name. I had naming rights.
I'll stand on my business.
All I'm saying is, Hawk, when you get out there and once you start bragging on what this is gambling 101, let me school you. Yeah. Once you start bragging, things usually go south.
Yeah.
You got to kind of be cool and understand. It's like the little kid. You, Jayhawk, were the little kid at the water park sitting in the shallow end but splashing saying, look at the waves. And we're sitting in the wave pool thinking like, they ain't even made the noise yet to let you know the waves coming. Like, he really think he's having a good time. But us professionals.
I was having a good time.
Exactly. But to null and void, because once you put it out there, everybody was thinking, okay, the over. I went against you and went under. And you know who won? Me. Because how you can't do that,
What
man.
happened the first 5 games?
Hawk, none of that matters. Hawk.
Hold on. Did you bet?
None of that matters.
What did you bet the first 5 games?
This is what you forgetting.
No,
you in the
you bet the first 5 games?
with a life preserver on, splashing water, saying, look at the waves. Everybody's walking by you saying, look how cute that is. Look at them little 5 wins. That's so cute. Oh, it's so cute out there. And then after you, what you don't know is going to be a 3-year-old that's come through and push you in the back of the head, and you're going to be up under the water in a minute because you ain't had no business out there anyway. They got your own little section over there. Way over there where you just go get in the little baby water. That's where you just be. With me. Yeah, just be cool. So, Hawk, I'm telling you to say this, man. Lead the big boy betting to us, man. Just jump out there, have fun. I tell you what, even call in at 3HL and be like, Slay, what you think today? Well, I'm gonna go against that. Then we're gonna be like, okay, that's cool. Yeah. You can't just throw stuff out there, Hawk, and it don't stick. You feel me? It's all good till you have to get out there in the street.
Because Babs jumped out there.
Babs jumped out there the same way.
She did.
You can't do it, man. I sent Babs to Las Vegas and told her at Black 35. And you know what she did? Hit that bad boy 5 times.
Wow.
5 times, dog. Then she want to call back and holler out, hey, you got a bet for tonight? I said, Babs, do you want the parlays? She said, no. See, you should have just said yes. And everybody would have went home happy. But you went against it and you lost. So, you know what I mean? Hey, dog, just leave the big boy stuff to us, man. That's all I'm saying.
You win some, you lose some.
No, it's the wrong mentality, dog. Wrong mentality, dog. We don't lose nothing.
No, I'm saying you win some and you lose some.
You wrong.
I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about you.
No, Hawk, I'm talking to you. You wrong. That's wrong mentality. I don't win or lose. I'm out here in this game. I'm out here day in, day out. Yeah, I eat oatmeal better than no meal. That's what you can use for me because I'm eating.
So the same day that my bet loses, your parlay loses as well.
Nobody is listening to your bets. You ain't got your thick score yet. Nobody's listening to your bets but you. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you got to get up there and echo it through eternity, nobody's listening. Everybody has cotton swabs in their ear. That's all I'm telling you.
He need what you said. He need a little bit more skin in the game.
Come on, man. Your resume ain't built up. 5 wins ain't gonna get everybody listening. That's all I'm saying. I done been out here and took it. You know what I mean? Whether it be big losses, little losses, big wins, little wins. It don't matter. I'm out here. Yeah. I'm throwing it. You throw it out there for the people to grab onto. You ain't got to tell them, hey, man, you better take this. You do what you want to.
See what's crazy is Holly in the chat gets it.
Holly knows.
She's Ramon giggling makes me giggle.
I'm telling you, this is all he want to do, man. So I'm also saying, leave dude alone, man. If you see him walking to the bus stop and he say he don't want to get on the bus, let's walk to school today, you get your butt on the bus.
Hey, give it time.
Let him walk alone.
Give it time.
I'm telling you now, you'll end up in one of them. You gonna
Justin
be in
will
one
be
of
a
them
part.
like Ricky.
Justin will be a part of the Thursday 3 this year too to make football picks against the spread this football season.
Now that's how you build your resume.
So you got to build it up.
You listen.
That's like, hey, Hawk, I'm not listening to that. You think I really be listening to you?
That's Slay's nap time, the 4th hour of the show. Unless he's in here with us, we just assume Slay's asleep for the end of the show.
I'll send him the recording.
Man, they trying to teach him.
Yeah, don't worry.
See, this is like Justin, the first step of feuding with Slay. He'll give you an opportunity to blame it on someone else. He's bringing in Ramon right now. But the next time y'all go 1v1, Slay's not going to come and say it's Ramon's fault.
No,
he's going to say it's your fault.
It's all day long.
I've been through the 10-step process. And it ended with the NBA stuff that happened a couple weeks ago, and I just decided I'm just not touching it.
My dog been there.
I'm just not. Well, you should have seen before the Georgia game this last year when I was wearing a UT Bomber jacket, and I picked Georgia to win, and I thought Slay was never going to talk to me anymore. He was so mad at me. He told me to give it to Goodwill and give someone an orange coat because I picked Georgia, and I was right. It didn't matter.
Yeah,
It didn't matter if I was right or wrong. It's the fact I was texting Ramon. I was like, does Slay hate me now?
He did. Like, no, that's just savage.
I was like, what is happening? I did a high school football game that night. And I was like, dude, what did I do? And then again, you saw me Monday. You're like, oh, what's up, Will? I was like, what? What do you mean?
But when it's hot, Will,
it's hot.
When it's hot,
in the heat of the battle, it's like, man, I'm against the ropes right now. I'm in the trench. I'm fighting for my life right now. When you go up against Ron Slay and something, just be like, oh, what's up, dude? How are you?
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Didn't even matter.
When Slay stops coming around and asking you how you are after the fact, that's when you should be worried.
That's probably, he giving you your warning.
That's when you should be worried.
I'm trying to help Hawk.
There's the warning right there.
Hawk, man.
And I'll be honest with
that's
you.
Great.
I sent them.
I know.
He was the third base coach waving. Josh Elander waving him in. Get home. I'm out of there.
I'm the one that kept telling him, I'm 5 for 5 on y'all ass.
He's the one, the second you wheel him through, then he gets by you, then he's trying to throw a stop sign. Like, wait, no, I told you not to go.
I'll tell him to go.
Anyway,
Hey, look,
it's June, guys.
There's one thing you're going to learn about me, Slay, and that's that I don't back down.
Hey, guess what, Hawk? You ain't got to back down to get your head knocked off.
Oh.
I'm telling you. How many head replacements you got?
I love it.
That's it. I know I got a knee replacement on the way. I don't know how many heads they're going to be able to
Can we talk about that before you roll?
Man, it's going down Friday. This is going to be my last time.
Are you nervous? It's been a minute since you had a surgery.
I'm ready.
You are ready. I hate surgeries. I ain't going to lie to you.
Let's get this over with.
I hate to wake up in the first initial pain, though.
Savage, I'm ready to get off. I'm just hoping this ankle is going to be what he's supposed to be.
It's the ankle?
It's the ankle, man. My knee is cool now.
So when we had that old kindergarten song, did y'all do it? The hip bone connected to the knee bone?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Y'all did that?
That's it.
Yeah.
You know.
That's not that.
That's on me, my dog. That's on me.
Thank you.
You right.
Put some respect on
Yeah,
that.
you thought we was going to have to hit you with the, I ain't been around that long, but like.
When I say, I had CDs, like I had cassette tape still. Like I was still born in the 90s. It's okay.
Oh, my gosh. But you ready?
Yeah.
Because we ain't going to have you next Friday.
I am now.
And you better not go into work either. I'm telling you, right? As your little brother. Don't do it.
I'm staying down on
He
that.
got his wisdom teeth pulled.
Yeah.
And he went into work.
I came on in that thing.
I remember that.
I came on in that
What was
thing
you
anyway.
thinking?
I was just like, wow.
That's just wild, man.
Taking chances, yeah. Just taking chances.
It's good content for the people.
Putting skin in the game is what it was.
Yeah.
Building up my resume, Hawk. That's what I'm doing. Building up my foundation is what I'm out here doing. That's all. That's all it is.
I see.
I don't even know what to talk about now, Will. We didn't just clown for so long.
No, we want to talk about basketball.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Always do. NBA Finals going to Game 7 for the first time in 9 years.
No, I thought we was talking about UT.
Oh, that too.
How was you talking about UT?
Well, UT had an open practice the other day to the media.
I know.
There were some takeaways.
Hey, man.
Nate Ament looks the part. Jacoby Gillespie hit 3 straight threes, according to reports. And Troy Henderson, the freshman point guard, it's unfair to compare a guy who's been on campus for about 10 minutes to Zakai Ziegler. Right. But I will say, he is in the same profile of Zakai in that Zakai was a late take that impressed them as a culture guy. You're going to play defense. You're going to crawl on the floor for every loose ball. Yeah. You fit the DNA of the program. Yes. And we feel like we can develop you as a backup point guard day one, and maybe by the time you're done, you could be a starter. Well, for Zakai, it was just by the time they got to year 2, he was a starter. Yeah. Hearing good things about Troy Henderson, the true freshman up there, who wasn't even rated as a recruit until I think the very end of his recruitment.
Yeah, and that's about what Rick Barnes likes to go get. Guys that have that blueprint that he just can go and push. Just put the battery in their back. The Maysacks, you know what I'm saying? People like that. Gainey was similar to one of those type of guys, and just
that's fair.
Turned into just a dominant scorer, man.
Yeah.
And you know what's gonna be weird? And I like this group. I can't wait to see him in person. But no, we've been so spoiled for 4 to 5 years, being able to watch guys like and know exact like you know when you're adding a Dalton Connect.
Mm-hmm.
You like, man, we still got all these other pieces. This team gonna be really good.
You knew what you were gonna get.
Yeah, you got
sure.
year in and year out, man. It's kind of strange because we ain't been in this part in a minute since Grant and Admiral left, and then we were trying to get Julian Phillips, and we were trying to get all these guys acclimated to it, and then you still had a core to kind of, you know what I mean, lean on with your size, Santi. We have no core now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you got bigs that have been in it with Cade Phillips and Estrella and all these guys. You know what I mean?
Is Cade expected
The
to
big
be
men
there?
are the core.
Yeah. The big men are the core.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's different than the way it's been the past 5 years.
You always had guards to lean on.
For sure.
Yeah, so this is going to be interesting, dog.
You'd also expect, too, with what he brings over and the way I think he is, a Vanderbilt transfer.
Jalen
Carey seems like, to that point, it seems like the
tone.
bigs may be the ones to lean on.
He's gonna be one. I'm expecting him to be one of them dudes, man. Like,
wow.
Maybe second team, maybe third team All SEC, but first team All defense. You know what I'm saying? Like, he could be one of them guys. I don't know what his shot gonna look like, but it's been looking good in the little pictures and the videos that we've been seeing. But amen.
What up? Amen.
Amen.
I'm gonna get out your way.
Yeah, this right here, I think, man, we might have something special.
It sounds like it.
Wow.
We might have something special, man. Like, I'm talking about special to the point of, I just keep thinking back because of size-wise, you think of Jabari Smith when he was at Auburn. But Jabari was like a 4 that could play 3.
Right.
With Nate, this is a 2
that
can play a little 3, a little 1, bring it up like this dude's jump shot.
Because they're not going to make him bang down low with these big physical big men. Because that's not his game.
And that's a good thing about Coach Barnes going through that situation before with Kevin Durant.
Right.
Like, we're not going to force you to be.
Yeah.
Like, we ain't got you for 2 or 3 years. Like, dude, let's just go. It's going to shine the light on what your game is, letting the ball fly.
And it feels like sometimes Rick, and maybe it's one of the weaknesses or things that he's learning from, will try to fit a 5-star into his scheme. And that was kind of the case with Jaden Springer and Keon Johnson. And I think Julian Phillips is really the one that he tried to make Julian Phillips be more almost like a kind of a Jordan Bowden, Admiral Schofield type. Nate Ament clearly is coming in being told, no, you're the guy.
Yes.
We're going to build everything around what you do. And we've got a point guard that's going to help you be the best version of yourself. And a big man down low in Felix that's going to protect you from those big guys because he's going to attract that attention to where you can drive and shoot and kick and do anything that you want to do.
It's going to be interesting to see his development, man. His trajectory should be shooting up by going towards the SEC regular season play, but he's going to be tested non-conference. You know what I'm saying? So that ought to be good for him. It's going to be fun to watch, man. This should be an exciting year because of the unknown.
I wish we'd gotten a better SEC ACC challenge match.
I know.
Syracuse is disappointing.
I'm tired of keeping on playing Syracuse.
Syracuse is a good traditional program. They are not close to that right now. I mean, I think they've recruited well. They've got one of the big time recruits coming in, but like they need a lot more than just that. Respect. Watch them go beat us now that I've said that, but. Carrier Dome would be a cool place to play, no doubt. But I wanted Duke. I wanted UNC.
I was telling Babs, I'm tired of Duke getting the home game every time.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? They got this year. They played Auburn last year at home. Now they playing Florida at home. And I understand how
they got
Cameron
Florida?
Indoor. Yeah, it's gonna be rocking. But man, I would have loved to see them have to go to the Swamp.
Heck yeah.
They got to give the ACC something.
They have to. They have to. Like you been
they
honest.
got so dominated last year. That was one of their only wins, wasn't it?
I can't wait. I'm gonna be back on that limb again. NC State should be better though.
They got another Cooper coming in or no?
That type.
Yeah,
they got Boozers.
Boozer brothers.
That's all.
Boozers plural.
Yeah, the Boozers.
Forget about that.
Nah, this Shire know what he doing.
If they didn't have the Boozers, Nate Ament might be a Duke. I'm glad that.
Absolutely.
I'm glad that they have the Boozers because it means Nate Ament could be a Vol.
There's no question.
He didn't want to take the back. I don't think he wanted to take the back seat to them.
No need to. No need.
Right. More with Ron Slade coming up. We'll get Slade on the conversation we had with Brent Hubbs earlier this morning about differences for college athletes. I think interesting stuff, and wrap up the show coming up next. Friday morning on Ramon and Will, wrapping up the show, fueled by Scooter's Coffee. Ron Slay in studio, Justin Hawkins, our producer, as we get you on your way out. You sparked a good conversation, Slay.
Oh, well, thank you.
With Brent Hubbs, as always. Every conversation we have with Hubbs is excellent. But
yeah, definitely.
The nostalgia we were talking about of guys making money as college athletes, girls too, guys and girls making money as college athletes, the way that changes your lifestyle. Gone are the days of 6 people cramming into a house in the fort where you got 4 beds.
Yeah.
And now all these guys own their own houses and live off campus, or they don't have to live in a dorm. There's no more Gibbs Hall selling Gator Nuggets on Florida Week and things like that. It was one of the best weeks of the year at Smokies in Stokely and in the athletic facility. It's just changed a lot. So I want to thank you for sparking that conversation with Hubbs, because it gave us a whole segment this morning.
It's crazy, man. Like, I remember my senior year, I had moved out of my apartment, and I actually moved in with, it was Crump, L. Grace, Wilborn, Pee Wee Gash. It was us 4. And I don't know if I stayed there 10 times, but it was almost like a storage unit.
Exactly.
I was on the go.
That's
but
college.
Exactly. But I had somewhere to, that's why if I had I needed an address, that was not going to be my address.
Yeah.
I was right there. But
P.O. box.
And that camaraderie, dog, like I remember sitting down playing GoldenEye all day. Like, you know what I mean? You need that camaraderie. I don't care who you are, if you the star, if you the last person, the last walk-on that got accepted on the team. You need that, man. And that right there, like going to eat together, man, partying, man, stressed out together, all of that plays a factor. I don't know how you get that now, man, when you get people with 5-bedroom houses, 4-bedroom houses, and it's just them. Like, you got how many home games? Like 7 maybe in football?
Maybe 8. Yep.
Maybe 8, you know what I mean? So your family's coming in, and you ain't even there when the family's staying there.
Right.
You probably at the hotel. Then you come back, they got to leave. It's like, oh, what are you doing in this big old house? No, man, it's weird. That dynamic, I don't know how you get that camaraderie, man, once you leave the locker room. Because it used to be, hey, dog, what we going to eat?
Right.
Now it's, man,
every night.
I'm going to the crib, man. What y'all gonna do? Like, and there's so much space in between. I don't know. I don't get it.
I missed that when I wasn't an athlete anymore, because I kind of did both lives.
Yeah.
And the first 2 years, it was like every day after practice, like, all right, what are we doing today?
Yep.
Yeah, that's how it goes, man. He brought up, I was telling earlier, Savage brought up a point to where when the parents came in, like one of my first seafood boils.
Yeah.
Louisiana. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's that side of it for me.
Makes me so hungry.
Or having somebody mom cook, or they just gonna take us out.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, let's roll.
Yep.
And I get it. You make so much bread, you have the ability to do what you want to, and I get it. Most of us will.
Yeah.
I still had a roommate, heck, when Savage, like, we moved out because we had a kid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And Savage and I were still rooming together.
So it was. Like, that's the interesting part. And they got so much money in particular in Knoxville. Like, if I would be cool with still having a roommate. Like, I'll take the 4-bedroom house, and there's 3 of us. We got a bonus room, and we got the man cave. You know what I mean?
Everybody
got a basement.
eats.
So everybody
We're bringing
eat.
everybody.
Oh, this is gonna be a good time.
For
you know
sure.
what I mean? I just don't know. Hey, boy, the minds got to be working alike in there, man. Like, we got to know when to shut it down. That's the only problem.
That
with me.
is. So think if I'm the quarterback and I'm owning the house and I'm bringing all the buddies in with me, like, I decide when the lights go out.
Yeah, man. For real.
When the music gets turned off in the very least.
We got to be able to get a little rest
for sure.
Yeah, it's different now, man. I want to see. I would love to see up close how they kind of manage it, though.
Yeah,
you know
for sure.
Like, you got to think
for sure
how many times, you know what I mean, you late for practice and somebody wake you up and be like, hey, dog, come on. Like, you ain't got that. You missed that alarm. You just missed that alarm. And you got to get in the car and drive all the way to like, nah.
We would practice off campus at what was it called? Victor Ashe Park.
Victor Ashe.
Yeah.
We would have 6 a.m. workouts there, which would mean you'd have to wake up at 5:15, because if you're not 10 minutes early, you're late for practice like that too. And you would need somebody to get you out of bed a little bit.
Yeah, that's tough.
Not fun. Game 7 Sunday night, Pacers and Thunder. Slay. Will Oklahoma take care of business at home?
I think they will. After getting embarrassed like they did last night, I think, man, and I was telling a partner of mine, like, hey, man, I picked OKC in 6, But, dog, watching us being off yesterday, getting to watch all the pre-games and everything, the spectacle that was in Indiana, dog, you could feel the energy.
They brought it.
You could feel the energy.
Sure.
And people that don't understand it, I relate it to when the Titans were, I think it was a Thursday night game, we were getting to replace San Francisco.
Yeah.
And, like,
Christmas Eve.
there was plenty of Titans out that game. You know what I mean? Injured and everything. And I remember us being there, and I was like, dog, man, the Titans finna win tonight. Like, you could feel at these games, dog, you can feel the energy. Right. And if things go to plan, like, they can pull off something. And
they did.
Indiana, man, that fan base that Indiana is known for basketball. The state is.
Yep.
They showed up last night. I've never heard it that loud. That was crazy.
It was awesome.
So OKC is watching that. OKC fans, they're going to try to prove a point.
Go nuts.
Yeah, it's like the hot chicken in Nashville. Everybody trying to make it super hot. Now OKC about to overdo it.
Put more cayenne in
But
there.
now, they about to go crazy. So, yeah, I think they're going to win between 6 and 11 points. OKC will.
Really?
Yeah.
They can't sneak one? What they did game?
Oh, man. I think these young boys, man, after hitting the mouth like that, and sitting there, you could watch Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Jalen Williams sitting there talking to each other during the game. And you got to imagine, Indiana down there celebrating. They going crazy on the bench. Man, spinning shirts and towels. It's like, okay, that's what's up.
Did you think
That's what's
SGA tried because of the 40 points that Jalen Williams got?
No, it's just him.
Okay,
that's
all right. I was just wondering because it looked like he was forcing. He had 3 on him. It's just like, bro.
No, that's him. He's smooth, man. He's smooth, but when they go against him, they go against him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like them 8 turnovers, that was bad. So I think they pick it up, man. And I think the problem is the role players, the way they played in Indiana, you can never bottle that up and take it on the road. If they do, Indiana will win.
Yeah,
but I think OKC role players gonna play like Indiana's role players played at home.
Sure,
that's gonna separate it.
Real quick, with more maturity, could Durant, them crew Durant, Westbrook, and Harden have done this?
Yeah, it was their first time.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
He is Ron Slade, 3 to 6 on 3HL. Good to see you, sir.
Ooh, no doubt, baby.
That is the week. That is your Friday morning, the Buck Rising Show on deck. And Ramon Foster, words of wisdom right now.
I don't know how it goes, man. One, it's going to be hot. Check on your older citizens, man. Please make sure they're okay in them houses, on the roads, whatever the case may be. But buy somebody a random drink, man. Have a random conversation. Talk somebody. ELE, everybody love everybody, man. But please, make it back to us on Monday. Peace.